Phoenix Nights. Chapter 208. Okay. Zhao Feng walked out of the courtyard and met up with Yang Gan. After not seeing him for half a month, Yang Gan's aura had become much stronger. He was now at the sixth sky of the first head disciple. Yang Gan also inspected Zhao Feng. The latter's cultivation hadn't increased, but his aura had become more mysterious. Even Yang Gan couldn't see through him. He didn't dare to underestimate this junior brother of his. Ever since the trial, Zhao Feng had been highly regarded by First Elder, and his own strength had reached an unbelievable level. A few days ago, he had almost defeated Hai Yun Master's disciples. It wasn't long before Zhao Feng and Zhao Feng saw the Grand Elder. "Fenger, your aura has been weird lately," First Elder said with squinted eyes. "Reporting to Master, disciple received a mental energy inheritance last time, but I've also been infected by something disgusting. However, disciple believes that I'll be able to get rid of it soon." Zhao Feng didn't hide these details. Previously, when he was spying on the mysterious ancient temple, he was struck by the skeleton's secret technique. He had a nauseating feeling that lingered around him like a ghost. Even now, this feeling hadn't disappeared. Even when Zhao Feng used his left eye to check, he couldn't get rid of it. What Zhao Feng didn't know was that the skeletal division leader had left a ghost mark on him. According to the rules, it wouldn't disappear within 3 years. Of course, since Zhao Feng had received a mental energy inheritance, and was progressing quickly, it was very likely that he would be able to get rid of it in the future. "Let me see." First Elder spread out his spiritual sense and inspected Zhao Feng's body. Zhao Feng didn't resist and only circulated his bloodline power to block his left eye. His bloodline power was mixed with his true force and blood, so it was hard to detect if he didn't expose it. Furthermore, Zhao Feng wasn't worried that First Elder would find out that his bloodline power was related to mental energy. "It's like a mental energy mark, but it's more profound. It looks like you've been targeted by someone," First Elder murmured. However, even someone as powerful as the Great Elder could not dispel this strange and formless thing. "The person who attacked has probably reached the True Lord rank, and I don't specialize in mental energy techniques. Maybe the people from the ancient shrine will have a way to deal with it, but this group of people won't easily give in." The First Elder frowned slightly, as if he felt that it was a thorny problem. "True Lord rank? This was too terrifying. It seems like there hasn't been an expert of this level in the 13 sect alliances for hundreds of years." Yang Gan was shocked. The 3 heavens of the true spirit realm were split into 3 levels: true human rank, true mystic rank, and true lord rank. At the moment, there weren't any true mystic rank elders in the Broken Moon clan, much less those at the true lord rank. Those at the true lord rank stood at the peak of the northern continent, and were called True Lords. Zhao Feng was also moved. The strongest First Elder was only at the peak true human rank, and the other elders were at the early and late stages of the true human rank. "Fenger, you need to be careful of your own safety. I don't know the intentions of the person who attacked. After the Alliance banquet, I'll ask the experts from the ancient shrine to help." The Great Elder sighed. "Master, don't worry. There's no need to ask the ancient shrine. I believe I can deal with it myself," Zhao Feng said confidently. However, First Elder and Yang Gan obviously didn't believe his words. The True Lord rank was an existence that stood at the peak of the continent. Every single one of them could flip the clouds and rain, and they could control the fate of the continent. The difference between the true human rank and the true lord rank was like the difference between the first and 7th sky of the ascended realm. An hour later, First Elder led the 2 to the central square of the Floating Crest Palace. Hai Yun Master and Bei Moi were already there. Apart from them, Granny Luwa also followed. She was in charge of pill making and medicine. The 3 elders and 3 core disciples were all present. Zhao Feng's expression changed slightly when his gaze landed on Bei Moi. This guy had reached the 5th sky of the ascended realm in half a month. Last time when they sparred, Bei Moi was only at the peak 4th sky. This kind of improvement could be said to be the fastest in the clan. No wonder he was the most talented genius in the Broken Moon clan. Zhao Feng didn't know that after the Floating Crest trial, he had almost swept Hai-Yun Master's disciples. After that, Bei Moi had cultivated like crazy. In the same generation, the competition between geniuses was to create miracles. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng, Bei Moi might not have been able to squeeze out so much potential. At the same time, if it wasn't for Bei Moi, Zhao Feng might not have achieved what he had today. Even head disciple Yang Gan's expression changed and he felt the pressure. After all, Bei Moi was someone who had received the inheritance, and reaching the fifth sky of the Ascended Realm posed a threat to his position as head disciple. This way, the Broken Moon clan's lineup for the three-clan party was formed. Yang Gan, head disciple, sixth sky of the Ascended Realm. Bei Moi, core disciple, fifth sky of the Ascended Realm. Zhao Feng, core disciple, fourth sky of the Ascended Realm. Get ready to go. First Elder waved his hand and the cry of an eagle came from afar. A gigantic golden eagle tore through the sky from a distant mountain range, causing a golden gust of wind to blow in its wake. Its aura was terrifying. This is the flying beast of the clan, the golden ashen giant eagle? Zhao Feng inspected it. The golden ashen giant eagle had a wingspan of 7 or 8 yards and its shadow could cover a small garden. It could carry 10 people without a problem. In terms of battle power, the golden ashen giant eagle was comparable to those at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm. In terms of flying speed, normal cultivators at the True Spirit Realm would be slightly slower. After all, normal cultivators at the True Spirit Realm could only fly for a short period of time. First Elder led the group onto the back of the golden ashen giant eagle. Meow meow! The little thieving cat suddenly appeared and curiously inspected its surroundings. When Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat stepped onto the eagle's back, the giant golden ashen giant eagle started to tremble in fear. First Elder and Hai-Yun Master both felt that something was wrong. First Elder thought for a bit and calmed the golden ashen giant eagle down its fear and returned to normal. Hai-Yun Master's gaze towards the little thieving cat became hotter and hotter. The golden ashen giant eagle had a faint ancient bloodline and it was the strongest spiritual beast in the Broken Moon clan. But such a powerful spiritual beast was scared of the little thieving cat? Of course, Hai-Yun Master didn't realize that Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat had stepped onto the back together. It was hard to say whether the golden ashen giant eagle was scared of the former or the latter. But Hai-Yun Master had obviously forgotten about the fact that Zhao Feng was a factor. Meow meow! The little thieving cat's eyes spun and it suddenly flipped in the air and landed on Hai-Yun Master's shoulder. Eh? Zhao Feng and company were completely dazed. Hai-Yun Master first paused before hiding the joy on his face. Could it be that the little thieving cat also knew the meaning of a good bird chooses a good tree to nest in? The golden ashen eagle spread its wings and soared into the sky like a streak of light, creating a golden gust of wind behind it. So fast. Zhao Feng sighed as he stood on the back of the eagle and looked down at the mountains and rivers below. He was extremely excited. A year ago, when he was in the Zhao clan, he would never have thought that he would have such a grand journey. One day, he would use his own power to travel across this mysterious continent. Meow meow! The little thieving cat stuck to Hai-Yun Master, and the two seemed to be having a good time. Hai-Yun Master was overjoyed in his heart. Now that he had a good relationship with the little thieving cat, Zhao Feng wouldn't be able to reject him. Zhao Feng didn't mind. The little thieving cat's standards were very high, and it wasn't very likely for it to be interested in Hai-Yun Master. It was probably planning something else. Hai-Yun Master was overjoyed and he fed the little thieving cat a few spiritual pills which were all eaten. Meow meow! After the little thieving cat was full, it nodded its head in satisfaction and jumped back onto Zhao Feng's shoulder with a smile. The smile on Hai-Yun Master's face froze. It seemed like the little thieving cat was just here to scam him. A while later. My jade pendant! Hai-Yun Master's expression changed as he touched his waist. What's going on, brother Hai-Yun? First Elder and Granny Lu both looked over. I originally had a jade heart pendant here that can suppress the demons in one's heart. It's worth a lot, but it suddenly disappeared. That's right. It must be that little thieving cat. It was the only one that came close to me. Hyun Master's eyes dimmed as he pointed at the little thieving cat. How was this possible? The people on the eagle's back all felt that it was impossible. This little thieving cat looked so weak and was only the size of a palm. How could it steal an elder's jade pendant? Furthermore, with the strength of someone at the true spirit realm, how could they not feel anything when it was stolen? Meow meow! The little thieving cat stood on First Elder's shoulder and shook its head with a pitiful expression. The corners of its eyes were still wet, earning the sympathy of the others. However, Hyun Master and his disciple didn't believe it. It must be the cat, Baemwa said confidently. He had experienced the craftiness of this thieving cat before. Zhao Feng shook his head helplessly. If Elder Hyun Master doesn't believe me, you can search my interspatial bracelet. Meow meow. The little thieving cat shook its head and waved its paws in protest. Humph humph, as expected. Hyun Master walked towards Zhao Feng. Senior Hyun, the little thieving cat means that what if you don't find it? Isn't it an insult to its cat status? Zhao Feng had no energy, so he could only help. Translate. After all, the little thieving cat had signed a spiritual pet blood contract with him, and their minds were connected. This, Hyun Master felt troubled. After all, Zhao Feng was First Elder's disciple and he didn't have any evidence to search Zhao Feng's body. If he didn't find it, wouldn't he be bullying First Elder's disciple in front of him? How about this? If I find it, this cat will belong to me and I'll do whatever I want. If I don't find it, I'll give you 100 low-grade primal crystal stones of cat food, Hyun Master said. 100 low-grade primal crystal stones? Everyone's expressions changed. That was equivalent to 10,000 substandard primal crystal stones. It wasn't a small number. Fine. Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat looked at each other and nodded their heads. Moments later, Hyun Master handed over 100 low-grade primal crystal stones and turned to the side with a gloomy expression. Meow meow! The little thieving cat revealed a victorious expression and waved its paw at Zhao Feng. Okay. We'll split it 50-50, Zhao Feng said helplessly. Hearing this, everyone almost fainted. Hyun Master and Baemwa's expressions were extremely ugly. The master and disciple were unhappy the entire way until they reached their destination. Chapter 209. The giant golden ashen eagle slowly descended from a height of several hundred feet. What entered its vision was a beautiful scenery of mountains and rivers, green hills and clear waters, evergreen trees, birdsong and fragrant flowers. The Lin Moon clan wasn't located deep in the mountains, but in a mysterious bay that seemed to be decorated with sapphires. Looking down from the sky, it was like a crescent moon. The energy here was even more abundant than the Broken Moon clan, and the waterfalls flowed. Zhao Feng's vision was wider and clearer, and he couldn't help but sigh. The Lin Moon clan's territory was much more majestic than the Broken Moon clan's. This was just the difference on the surface. The real difference was in the heaven-earth yuan qi. Any clan would occupy a place with abundant heaven-earth yuan qi, which was good for cultivation and had a higher chance of breaking through. If it was in a place like the Zhao clan where heaven-earth yuan qi was thin, even a genius like Baemwa wouldn't be able to break through to the ascended realm before the age of 20. Of the 13 clans, the Lin Moon clan was ranked 4th and the Broken Moon clan was either last or second to last. After arriving at the Lin Moon clan's territory, the expressions of the elders became solemn. At this moment, a ray of silver light flew over from the small continent below. Hee, greetings friends from the Broken Moon clan. Apologies for not welcoming you. The newcomer was a wrinkled elder in silver robes, and his aura was close to First Elder's. Elder Kun is too serious. The First Elder smiled faintly. The other elders greeted each other. Granny Lue and Hyun Master's expressions were slightly unhappy. This Elder Kun was one of the normal elders of the Lin Moon clan. The Broken Moon clan was led by First Elder and 2 other elders, but the Lin Moon clan had only sent one normal elder. According to common sense, the Lin Moon sect should at least send out a sect master or first elder to welcome them personally. Only then would it not be considered rude. Ha ha! The sect leader and grand elder are currently entertaining the fellow Taoists of the Silver Moon sect. Elder Quinn seemed to know what the elders of the Broken Moon clan were thinking and laughed, but disdain flashed in his eyes. Of the 3 Moon clans, the Broken Moon clan was the weakest, and they were always at the bottom of the 3-clan party. In comparison, the Silver Moon clan was ranked 7th in the 13 clan alliances, which was in the middle. Their strength was close, which was why the Lin Moon clan valued them. Although the elders of the Broken Moon clan were angry, they couldn't do anything. This was because the Broken Moon clan had always been at the bottom of the 3-clan parties, and had lost every battle. Thinking of this, the first elder and the others looked at the disciples who were participating in the small meeting with anticipation. The disciples of the Broken Moon clan this generation were much stronger than the previous generations. The ashen gold eagle landed on a large hall in front of the small continent. Elder Quinn smiled and said, "Us old farts will go to the main hall to discuss matters. Let these juniors interact on their own and take a look around the Lin Moon sect." The elders of the Broken Moon clan nodded their heads. This was the usual practice of the 3-sect parties. There were 2 main objectives of the 3-sect party. The first was a meeting between the upper echelons of the 3 sections. It was about forming an alliance and fighting against foreign enemies, as well as the distribution of benefits. Recently, the Scarlet Moon religion had been quite a bit of a rumor, so it was probably the main point of the discussion. The juniors obviously wouldn't be able to participate in these discussions. The other goal was to let the juniors of the 3 clans spar with each other. After all, the potential of the juniors affected the future of a clan, and it also showed the difference in strength between the clans. Usually, the stronger clans had more resources and the disciples they raised would be different. There were very few exceptions. For example, the 4 stars of the 13 clans came from the top 4 clans, and the Lin Moon clan barely managed to make it. Soon, the elders of the Broken Moon clan were welcomed into the hall. "Fellow Taoists, Meng Yun will lead you around the Lin Moon clan." An emotionless voice sounded. The person who greeted Zhao Feng and company was a young man dressed in white. His tone was neutral as he glanced at the 3 disciples of the Broken Moon clan. Bei Moi and Zhao Feng were people who were too lazy to talk. Yang Gan smiled and introduced them one by one. When Bei Moi and Zhao Feng were introduced, Meng Yun casually said, "So it's 2 new people." Meng Yun and Yang Gan seemed to know each other, but they weren't close. "Brother Meng, what's your ranking amongst the core disciples of the Lin Moon clan?" Yang Gan asked. This question also raised the curiosity of Zhao Feng and Bei Moi. Meng Yun's aura was close to Yang Gan's and his cultivation had reached the peak 5th sky. Ranked 3rd. Meng Yun was emotionless. On the way, he led the disciples of the Broken Moon clan and seemed to be very casual. This feeling wasn't intentional. It was just that he was too lazy to hide his thoughts. This time, the Broken Moon clan only sent a normal elder. They also sent a ranked 3rd core disciple to greet Zhao Feng in company. "Your clan's Ao Yuetian is one of the 4 stars of the 13 clans. He's indeed a genius, and I admire him." Yang Gan calmly asked about the situation of the Lin Moon clan. Meng Yun's attitude towards him, the head disciple of the Broken Moon clan, was very average. Yang Gan felt helpless. Of the 2 disciples beside him, Bei Moi was old-fashioned and didn't like to talk. As for Zhao Feng, he didn't like anyone he saw and was too lazy to talk to. Alas, these 2 fellows are both self-centered, conceited, and proud. As one of the Alliance's 4 rising stars, senior brother Ao might just be taking a look at the 3-sect party. A few months ago, he had already reached the peak 6th sky and he has learnt the extremely difficult Moon God War. No one has been able to beat him in the past 100 years. When Meng Yun mentioned Ao Yuetian, a mocking smile appeared on his face. "Clowns like you have the right to challenge Ao Yuetian?" Ao Yuetian was one of the 4 stars of the 13 clans and his strength was unparalleled. Putting aside the 3 moon clans, there weren't many that were his match. How is this possible? Aoyuetian has learnt Moon God War? Yangon's expression changed. Moon God War was one of the forbidden skills of the Lin Moon clan, similar to the Broken Moon clan's Lightning Wind Palm. But Moon God War's level was higher, and it was even more complete. It was an inheritance, and although it was hard to learn, its power was terrifying. I heard that someone from the Broken Moon clan has received an inheritance this time. It looks like he's not as bad as I thought. Meng Yun couldn't help but be overjoyed. Hearing this, Yangon became furious and was about to explode. Okay, we're here. Meng Yun's words changed as he led the three into a fragrant garden. In the middle of the garden was a pavilion with some tea and pastries. Inside the pavilion sat more than 10 disciples. Most of them were core disciples of the Lin Moon clan, and there was also the representative disciple of the Silver Moon clan. Brother Ao, fellow Taoists of the Silver Moon clan, the representative disciple of the Broken Moon clan is here. Meng Yun purposely raised his voice, which caused the gazes of the people in the pavilion. At the very center sat Aoyuetian, who was wearing a large blue robe, and he was looking straight ahead. In terms of looks and aura, Aoyuetian was on par with Yangon, and he was the perfect image in the hearts of girls. However, Aoyuetian had an air of arrogance, and his eyes contained a pressure that could pierce through one's soul. Aoyuetian faintly nodded his head and didn't have any intentions of standing up. Meng Yun introduced the three. This is the head disciple of the Silver Moon clan, Mao Fei. When Meng Yun introduced the three from the Silver Moon clan, his attitude was slightly more polite. The head disciple of the Silver Moon clan, Mao Fei, had the same cultivation as Yangon. On Mao Fei's left and right sat a red-haired youth and a silver-robed swordsman. Zhao Feng's gaze landed on the red-haired youth. Wasn't this youth the red-haired youth from the Cloud Forest Temple? This is Li Hong, number 2 core disciple of the Silver Moon clan. Meng Yun only briefly mentioned him. Soon, the lineup of the 3 clans was revealed. Aoyuetian was the leader of the Lin Moon clan. Mao Fei was the leader of the Silver Moon clan. Yangon was the leader of the Broken Moon clan. The head disciples of the 3 clans had all reached the 6th sky of the Ascended Realm, but it was obvious that Aoyuetian was the leader. Aoyuetian was, after all, one of the 4 stars, and he was at a higher level. The Broken Moon clan has sent out a disciple at the 4th sky of the Ascended Realm. Some of the core disciples within the Lin Moon clan whispered. Indeed. Of all the disciples, only Zhao Feng's cultivation was at the 4th sky of the Ascended Realm. Some of the core disciples of the Lin Moon clan said in disdain. Even second-rate core disciples like us can crush that guy. It looks like the Broken Moon clan has fallen. Silence. Aoyuetian harumphed coldly, and the pavilion instantly went silent. He didn't blame his fellow disciples for being rude, he just felt that it was embarrassing. From the beginning to the end, he didn't even look at the disciples of the Broken Moon clan, let alone that trash at the 4th sky. Trash, they were from the same sect, yet they were still comparing them. Wasn't this shameful? Why hasn't the prodigy with the Earth's spiritual body appeared? Mao Fei of the Silver Moon clan suddenly asked. A prodigy with the Earth's spiritual body. The expressions of the geniuses of the 2 clans changed at the same time. A light flashed in Baimua's eyes. Sister Zhao will be here soon. A rare smile appeared on Aoyuetian's face. Sister Zhao is here! The core disciples of the Lin Moon clan exclaimed. Outside the pavilion, a girl as elegant as a fairy walked in. She had a face as beautiful as a lotus flower, as if she were a natural sculpture of exquisite snow porcelain. The young girl was dressed in a light purple dress. Her black hair draped over her shoulders, making her look like a fairy in the wind. Her clear eyes were like flawless crystals, perfect and translucent. Her skin was like snow jade with a faint blush. When she walked toward the pavilion, many of the disciples were struck by an intense sense of awe and amazement. Some of the disciples couldn't help but be mesmerized. Apart from Mao Fei of the Silver Moon clan, the red-haired youth Li Hong, and the silver-robed swordsman all had dazed expressions. Is this the purple smoke fairy of your sect, the beautiful genius with the aptitude comparable to the earth's spirit body and the inheritance? Hearing about her really isn't as good as seeing her in person. Mao Fei couldn't hide the admiration and shock in his eyes. Sister Zhao. Ao Wetian had a warm smile on his face as he stood up to greet the purple smoke goddess. He was much more passionate than the other two clans. This scene fell into the eyes of the other disciples and they couldn't help but feel jealous. But Ao Wetian's strength made them feel helpless. Yufei's late. Goddess Xian revealed a faint smile that resembled the blooming of a lotus. She was beautiful without being flirtatious. It would not be an exaggeration to say that she could captivate even fishes and beasts. But there were two people in the crowd that were surprised. It's her! Zhao Feng and Bai Mua's expressions changed. Chapter 210. It's her! Zhao Feng and Bai Mua looked at each other and confirmed that the purple smoke goddess of the Lin Moon clan was Zhao Yufei, who had disappeared in the Guanjuan palace. After half a year, the original beauty had turned into a slender and elegant young lady. Her temperament was elegant and refined. Every move, every frown, and every smile was so beautiful that it could shock the mortal world, giving people a strong shock. A few days ago, when Zhao Feng returned to the Zhao clan, the shock and emotions of the Zhao clan when they mentioned Zhao Yufei were still fresh in his mind. When Sister Yufei came back, everyone thought she was a goddess. Even Sun Feather City's #1 beauty Chiu Mingyu was outshone by her. Thinking back to the Zhao clan's description, Zhao Feng felt that it wasn't an exaggeration. Now that they met again, Zhao Yufei turned out to be an exceptional genius of the Lin Moon sect that was comparable to an Earth's spiritual body, and she had even obtained the inheritance. Even the old-fashioned Bai Mua couldn't help but exclaim. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he thought back to the time when Zhao Yufei had tested her spiritual body talent. At that time, the number of circles on the crystal ball was unstable and the color was chaotic. At that time, Zhao Feng was surprised and Lord Guanjuan also thought that Zhao Yufei's body was special. But now, it seemed that Zhao Yufei had a rare changeable spiritual body which was even stronger than Sun Yuanhao's. Yufei, let me introduce you. These are the people from the Silver Moon clan. Meng Yun took the initiative to be attentive and introduced them to Zhao Yufei. In terms of status, the Silver Moon clan was higher than the Broken Moon clan, so he started with the head disciple Mao Fei. When his name was called, the disciples of the Broken Moon clan felt as if they were being admired by a goddess, and their heartbeats sped up. After all, the girl in front of them was the most talented genius of the three clans. After the Silver Moon clan finished their introductions, Meng Yun's gaze landed on the three from the Broken Moon clan and he said casually, "These are the three disciples of the Broken Moon clan led by brother Yangon." As for the Broken Moon clan, he only mentioned Yangon. "It is our honor to be able to witness the most talented beauty of the three sects, Violet Mist Fairy." Yangon wasn't stingy with his praise and it came from the bottom of his heart. However, when the Purple Mist Fairy's gaze landed on the three from the Broken Moon clan, she was dazed for a moment before her eyes were filled with shock and joy. "Zhao! Brother Zhao Feng! You're here too?" Zhao Yufei recognized Zhao Feng and Bai Mua. Especially when she fixed her gaze on Zhao Feng's face, she couldn't help but turn pale with worry. "Brother Zhao, your eyes?" Whoosh! A purple afterimage flashed, and Zhao Yufei appeared in front of Zhao Feng. The fragrance of a young girl surrounded her. "Yufei, long time no see." Zhao Feng faintly smiled as he stood there. His azure hair blew in the wind, making him look slightly weird. Zhao Yufei was dazed for a moment. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng was the same as when he was at the Zhao family and the Guanjuan palace. He was still calm and confident, and the confidence that he exuded had defeated him time and time again, even making him rely on him. Furthermore, the current Zhao Feng gave her a mysterious and weird feeling. She was sure that not only was Zhao Feng fine, he was even stronger than before. Yufei lost her composure. Zhao Yufei's worry turned into joy as she smiled and greeted Bai Mua. "So you guys know each other?" Yangon was stunned. Ao Yuetian and Ming Yun's expressions were slightly ugly. This was especially so for Ming Yun. He had purposely ignored Zhao Feng and Bai Moi, but he never would have thought that the goddess in his heart would know these two. Ao Yuetian was also slightly annoyed. Zhao Feng, who he saw as trash and didn't even bother to look at, seemed to be very close to Zhao Yufei. Zhao Yufei smiled as she gave a simple introduction. Everyone realized that Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei were from the same clan, and they were from the same sect as Bai Moi. Within the pavilion, the atmosphere became more relaxed. Everyone knew each other, so there wasn't much of a distance between them. Of the three from the Silver Moon clan, Zhao Feng had met the red-haired youth Li Hong a few days ago, so he could be considered an acquaintance. However, Zhao Feng was wary of Li Hong. What relationship did this brat have with the Scarlet Moon religion? After chatting for a while, the topic soon turned to cultivation. Ao Yuetian's moon god war, Zhao Yufei and Bai Moi's inheritances were the focus of everyone's attention. Of course, the few of them only briefly mentioned the things that they had inherited from their respective cultivation. They didn't plan anything deeper. This brother Zhao Feng is only at the fourth sky of the Ascended Realm, and he's representing your clan. I'm sure there must be something special about him. Ao Yuetian's eyes turned and pointed towards Zhao Feng. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't pay attention to someone like Zhao Feng. But this brat seemed to have a good relationship with Zhao Yufei, so he had to pay attention to him. Brother Zhao's strength isn't bad. Yang Gan could only help. Zhao Feng was too lazy to talk to Bai Moi. Bai Moi definitely wouldn't help him, so it was already good enough that he didn't hit him when he was down. As for Zhao Feng's situation, Yang Gan could only brush it off. The disciples of the Lin Moon clan and Silver Moon clan had disdain in their eyes. Maybe they were jealous of his close relationship with Zhao Yufei and wanted to see him lose face. But Zhao Feng and Bai Moi were too lazy to talk and the other was cold. After a few attempts, they felt that it was boring and gave up. Time passed quickly. At night, the meeting between the upper echelons of the three clans had basically ended. Next was the long-awaited sparring session of the three clans. More than 10 upper echelons of the three clans gathered at the Lin Moon Square. The sparring grounds were at the center of the square, and it was 100 yards wide. The upper echelons and disciples of the three clans were at 3 corners of the Lin Moon Square. In the corner of the Broken Moon clan. This year, the new disciples of the Lin Moon sect are unexpectedly strong. Granny Liu Yue's eyebrows were filled with worry. Hai Yun Elder nodded his head. The difference in strength between us and the Lin Moon clan isn't small, and it's impossible for us to gain the upper hand. But if we can fight to a draw with the Silver Moon clan, the other 2 clans will look at us differently. That's the only way. The Great Elder sighed softly. Firstly, the Lin Moon clan's formation was too strong. Head disciple Ao Yuetian was at the peak 6th sky of the Ascended Realm, and he was one of the 4 stars of the 13 clans. Secondly, Zhao Yufei and Ming Yun had both reached the peak 5th sky of the Ascended Realm, and the former had received an inheritance. In terms of individual and combined strength, the Lin Moon clan suppressed the other 2 clans. Right now, the upper echelons of the Broken Moon clan didn't dare to fight against the Lin Moon clan. They would be satisfied if they could fight to a draw with the Silver Moon clan. But even the Silver Moon clan had 1 at the 6th sky and 2 at the 5th sky of the Ascended Realm. From the looks of it, their formation was stronger than the Broken Moon clan's. First Elder's eyes suddenly turned and landed on the calm Zhao Feng. He had some hope in his heart that this disciple that even he couldn't see through would bring some surprises. Only First Elder knew that Zhao Feng had received the lightning inheritance, and his strength far exceeded his cultivation. At this time, Ao Yuetian of the Lin Moon clan announced the start of the sparring. The sparring would be hosted by the juniors and the seniors would only observe. They could give comments, but they wouldn't interfere. Being the host, I'll come out first. Is there anyone who's willing to spar with me? Ming Yun stood in the middle of the field and cupped his fists towards the Silver Moon clan and Broken Moon clan. I'll go! The red-haired Li Hong of the Silver Moon clan stood up and a dark red aura of fire appeared around him. Fire Moon Technique. Li Hong's attack contained a berserk flame energy. That terrifying might was enough to instantly turn a house into ashes. Zhao Feng nodded his head faintly. In terms of offense, Li Hong's Fire Moon Technique was similar to the Burning Wind stance that he had comprehended before, but it was on a higher level. Wind Cloud Breaking Moon Technique. Meng Yun held a fan in his hand and his movements were elegant. Surges of sharp true force turned into a dominating silver wind that devoured everything in its path. In terms of offense, Meng Yun was only slightly stronger than Li Hong, and this was only because of the advantage of cultivation. However, his movements and attacks were more elegant and pleasing to the eye. Moon-breaking wind riding stance. Meng Yun waved the folding fan in his hand, and a silver gust of wind surged out. With an overwhelming advantage, Li Hong was forced to take a few steps back. Li Hong was in a sorry state, and he was almost injured. Thanks. Meng Yun didn't take the chance to attack, or else he would have forced Li Hong out of the sparring field. Li Hong was slightly dispirited as he returned to the Silver Moon clan. The red-robed elder next to him shook his head and sighed. Honger, you lost because of two reasons. Firstly, you were too eager to win. Secondly, your opponent is indeed much stronger than you. In the first round of sparring, Meng Yun easily won in 10 moves. He was only the third core disciple of the Lin Moon clan, but he already had such strength. This made the elders of the other two clans feel pressured. Who from the Broken Moon clan wants to spar with me? Meng Yun's gaze swept past Yang Gon and company before landing on Bei Moi. If he challenged Yang Gon, he didn't have much confidence, but if he challenged Zhao Feng, he would be under the suspicion of bullying the weak. Bei Moi had an inheritance, and if he could beat him, he would feel a sense of accomplishment. Bei Moi walked onto the field expressionlessly and said, "You're not my match." Hee, you're arrogant. Meng Yun wasn't the only one who was surprised. Northern Dark 5 heavy waves. With a thought, the dark blue ripples around Bei Moi's body turned into heavy mountains that rose and fell. It was like tens of thousands of kilograms of water that pressed down endlessly. In that instant, the pressure made Meng Yun's blood stop flowing and he found it hard to breathe. He finally realized how powerful this serious and old-fashioned young man was. Moon-breaking wind riding stance. Meng Yun unleashed one of his most powerful moves with all his might. Pung pung! The dark blue ripples were like mountains that weighed tens of thousands of pounds. A total of 5 layers of pressure stacked on top of each other, and Meng Yun almost spat out blood. What a strong move! He's the person who received the inheritance of the Broken Moon clan? The spectators exclaimed in surprise. Pa! In just 2 or 3 moves, Meng Yun was sent flying several yards before landing on the ground. The crowd broke out into chaos. Plop! The moment he lost, Meng Yun was shocked and regretful. Disciples with inheritances were indeed terrifying. If he had known earlier, he would have challenged Zhao Feng at the 4th sky. Although he was under the suspicion of bullying the weak, he wouldn't have lost so badly. The losses outweighed the gains. Chapter 211. The battle between Bei Moi and Meng Yun was completely overwhelming. Meng Yun, who had reached the peak 5th sky of the Ascended Realm, was defeated in just a few moves. For a moment, the crowd was in an uproar as the disciples of the 3 sects turned pale. The reason why there was such a commotion wasn't just because of Bei Moi's strength, but also because of the Broken Moon clan itself. The Broken Moon clan was always at the bottom of the 3-clan party. Ever since High Master's generation, there hadn't been any outstanding geniuses. The inheritance this kid obtained seems to be extraordinary. The sect leader and elders of the Lin Moon sect exchanged glances. The 3 sects all had their own trial grounds, and they were all passed down from generation to generation. It was extremely rare for one to obtain an inheritance in the trial. Generally speaking, it was rare for a few to appear within 100 years. For each sect to have one appear this time was truly rare. Perhaps it had something to do with the destiny of the 3 sects, or even the entire continent. However, even inheritances were divided into strong and weak ones. Obviously, Bei Moi's Dark Water inheritance was a very powerful inheritance. In Hai Yun Master's words, it was one of the strongest inheritances of the Floating Crest Palace. The Broken Moon clan has such a strong person this time. Mao Fei, the head disciple of the Silver Moon sect, was visibly moved. The strength that Bei Moi had displayed was something that even he, the head disciple, wasn't confident in defeating. Let me. The silver-robed swordsman beside Mao Feng asked softly. Shang Guanyu, be careful. Mao Fei nodded and said. Although Shang Guanyu was ranked third among the Silver Moon sect's true disciples, he had obtained an inheritance, so his actual combat strength was stronger than Li Hong, who was ranked second. Brother Bei, you must be careful. Shang Guanyu's gaze was as sharp as the edge of a sword, and an invisible sword momentum rose from his body. Clang! The cold sword light streaked across the sky and slashed towards Bei Moi. That sword gave off a powerful visual impact, like a bolt of lightning in the dark night. Bei Moi's expression was solemn. He had not expected to encounter a cultivator who was skilled in the way of the sword. The three moon sects naturally did not focus on the way of the sword, but cultivators of the way of the sword were rather popular on the continent, especially 10,000 years ago. Even now, there were many Sword Dao inheritances in the world. The greatest characteristic of Sword Dao inheritances was that they had powerful attacks. They walked the path of unconventional swordsmanship, focusing on breaking all techniques with a single sword, pursuing the ultimate great Dao. At this moment, when Shang Guanyu slashed out with his sword, the sword aura was not something that a level 5 heaven cultivator of the same level could contend against. Dark Water Mountain. Bei Moi took a light breath and the dark blue ripple around him expanded. It was like a 100,000-kilogram mountain that pressed down on his opponent with unparalleled gravity. If an opponent of the same level encountered such a powerful and profound attack, it was possible that they would vomit blood on the spot. Shang Guanyu's body only paused for a moment before his sword aura, which was as cold as the sunset, broke Bei Moi's. Dark Water Mountain! He was cut into two, but he himself was also forced to take several steps back. What a powerful attack! The disciples of the three sects could not help but exclaim. Bei Moi's inheritance clearly specialized in defense, while Shang Guanyu's inheritance specialized in offense. On the field, the two figures crossed each other. Shang Guanyu's sword momentum came round after round, like a torrential rain of pear blossoms. Sword Dao cultivators are indeed hard to deal with, Ao Yuetian muttered to himself as he reminisced. With his strength, he obviously didn't fear Shang Guanyu and didn't even put him in his eyes. But amongst the geniuses of the 13 clans, there was a peerless prodigy who held a 3-foot-long green sword and was known as One Sword Slaying the Heavens. This meant that she could slay all the geniuses in the world with one sword, and her brilliance made all the other geniuses of the 13 clans lose their luster. That person was a girl, but she had stepped on all the male geniuses of the 13 clans with one sword. Even Ao Yuetian had lost to her. That person was Tseng Yue, the head of the 4 stars, and she came from the Cloud Sword clan. The current Shang Guanyu was the same as Tseng Yue, a genius that specialized in the way of the sword. Shang Guanyu's attacks could even threaten those at the 6th sky, and even Bei Moi couldn't gain any advantage in a short amount of time. Brother Zhao, what do you think Brother Bei's chances of winning are? Yang Gan asked. If Brother Bei wins, his dark water inheritance specializes in defense. On the other hand, cultivators of the sword rely on their sharpness. If they don't succeed, they will weaken, Zhao Feng said confidently. Hearing this, First Elder and Yang Gan both nodded their heads. Zhao Feng wasn't the only one with good eyes. Dark water reverse wave. The dark blue ripples around Bei Moi's body suddenly compressed and exploded. Like a majestic flying boat, it shot forward with an unstoppable momentum and destroyed Shang Guanyu's sword aura. Shang Guanyu was pushed back dozens of yards and his clothes were torn in several places. Thanks. Bei Moi's expression was expressionless, as if this was the most normal thing in the world. After beating 2 people in a row, he still had some strength left, and his gaze landed on Mao Fei. Challenging the head disciple. The expressions of the disciples of the 3 clans changed slightly. If Bei Moi beat Mao Fei, it would mean that he had crushed the Silver Moon clan under his feet. Okay. Mao Fei slowly stood up. Brother Bei, you've fought 2 battles and you've exhausted yourself. Let me do it. Yang Gan's figure flashed, and he came to the center of the field. Bei Moi didn't object, and he expressionlessly returned to the corner of the Broken Moon clan. Hai Yun Master nodded his head. Bei Moi's performance had given him face. At this time, on the field, Yang Gan and Mao Fei, the 2 core disciples, clashed. The competition between the chief disciples was grand and imposing, far surpassing the previous battles. Yang Gan held an ancient golden long saber in his hand, and his aura surged like a river. His attacks were bold and domineering, giving off an invincible aura as if a tyrant had descended. Yang Gan's strength shocked the disciples of the 3 clans. Zhao Feng was also slightly surprised. He hadn't fought much with Yang Gan, and he didn't think that his strength would increase so much after the trial. A smug expression appeared on First Elder's face. Yang Gan's talent and comprehension weren't bad, and after this trial, his battle power and mentality had increased greatly. Furthermore, Zhao Feng and Bei Moi gave Yang Gan too much pressure and forced him to squeeze out a lot of his potential. In just 10 moves, Yang Gan had the upper hand and his blade was domineering. After 20 moves, Mao Fei panted slightly and he was shocked. What's going on with the Broken Moon clan this time? Bei Moi is strong since he has obtained a powerful inheritance, but even the head disciple is unbelievably strong. Very strong, Bei Moi murmured. He had wanted to challenge Yang Gan after reaching the 5th sky, but from the looks of it, his chance of winning was less than 20% and the chance of a draw was less than 40%. Zhao Feng had to admit that Yang Gan had the right to be the head disciple. Under normal situations, if he didn't use his bloodline power or the lightning inheritance, he probably wouldn't be Yang Gan's match. After all, his defense wasn't as strong as Bei Moi's and his cultivation was his weakness. After 30 moves, Yang Gan forced Mao Fei back and left a bloody mark on the latter's face. Brother Yang is indeed strong. Mao Fei is ashamed. Mao Fei wasn't too disappointed because there was a clear difference in strength between him and Yang Gan. He didn't make any mistakes during the battle. Yang Gan had used up a lot of energy after winning, so he didn't continue to challenge and came back to rest. At his level, the only one he could challenge was Ao Yuetian, so he had to wait until he was at his peak state. Your strength is not bad. I thought that I wouldn't have the chance to fight at the 3-clan party. Ao Yuetian didn't hide the arrogance in his words. He didn't even put the 3-clan party in his eyes. His target was the Alliance Banquet and his opponents were Tsang Yue, Lin Tong and Su Zixuan. After Yang Gan left the stage, the atmosphere became weird. The terrifying strength that the Broken Moon clan displayed had basically crushed the Silver Moon clan under their feet. The Silver Moon clan had lost their edge. Meng Yun of the Lin Moon clan also had an ugly expression. Before, when he received the 3 disciples of the Broken Moon clan, he didn't put them in his eyes at all and even spoke rudely. But who would have thought that this generation's Broken Moon clan would be so strong? Bei Moi and Yang Gan, which one of them wasn't strong? At this point in time, the Broken Moon clan's strength made the other 2 clans wary. Fengler, aren't you going to show off? First Elder asked. His words made those from the Broken Moon clan look over. Of the 3 disciples, Zhao Feng was the most mysterious, and even First Elder, his master, didn't know much about him. Meng Yun and the other disciples of the Silver Moon clan's eyes lit up when they noticed the commotion. Yes. They admitted that the Broken Moon clan this time was strong and Yang Gan and Bei Moi weren't easy to offend. But the Broken Moon clan obviously had a weakness. This disciple at the 4th sky of the Ascended Realm was one of the strongest in the clan, but in the 3-clan party, it wasn't enough. We have to pick the soft one. We have to at least destroy the Lin Moon clan's prestige. Meng Yun made up his mind. Furthermore, he was already slightly jealous of the relationship between Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. At the same time, on the other side, the 2 of you who haven't won, go challenge the weakest Zhao Feng. You have to win at least 1 or 2 matches so that the entire Silver Moon clan won't be wiped out, Mao Feng ordered in a low tone. Shang Guanyu and Li Hong both nodded their heads when they heard this. The Silver Moon clan had lost 3 matches in a row, and they had all lost to the Broken Moon clan. Right at this moment, under the encouragement of First Elder, Zhao Feng expressionlessly walked onto the field. Before he could say anything, Meng Yun of the Lin Moon clan and Li Hong of the Silver Moon clan went up at the same time. What was going on? Zhao Feng paused. Since when was he so popular? What, brother Li Hong also wants to spar with him? Meng Yun smiled. The instant the two's eyes met, they both understood what the other was thinking. The disciples of the 3 clans paused for a moment before they understood. They weren't idiots. The 3-clan party concerned the face of the 3 clans, and every disciple wanted to win. If they didn't win a single match, how embarrassing would that be? Yes, I'm very curious about Brother Zhao, who has never fought before. Li Hong's face went slightly red. That's what I was thinking as well. Meng Yun coughed lightly. The two didn't seem to have any intentions of letting the other win. Their skin wasn't just a little thick. Even the clans behind them felt embarrassed. Only Yang Gan and Bei Moi of the Broken Moon clan had gloating expressions. Chapter 212. Seeing that Meng Yun and Li Hong were both eager to spar with Zhao Feng, they didn't seem to want to give up. How about this, the two of you come at me at the same time? Zhao Feng's expression was relaxed as he casually said. Don't be arrogant. Brat who doesn't know his place. Meng Yun and Li Hong paused for a moment before becoming furious. Zhao Feng's words caused the crowd to gasp in shock. They had seen arrogant people before, but they had never seen someone this arrogant. A measly 4th sky dared to say that he could fight 2 core disciples at the 5th sky at the same time? Of course. No matter how thick Meng Yun and Li Hong's skin was, they couldn't fight him at the same time, even if Zhao Feng was willing. They were sure that Zhao Feng said this because he knew that he had no hope of winning. I'm being sincere. Zhao Feng shook his head. Meng Yun and Li Hong almost spat out blood from anger. This brat didn't know what was good for him. Meng Yun, come down! You've lost enough face? Ao Yuetian harumphed coldly as his expression darkened. With his arrogance, he felt that Meng Yun had lost face for the clan by teaming up with a disciple at the 5th sky to bully a brat at the 4th sky. Yes, brother Ao. Meng Yun didn't dare to disobey, and he obediently came down. In the Lin Moon clan, Ao Yuetian was like the new emperor. His name had even spread across the 13 clans. On the field, only Zhao Feng and Li Hong were left. Li Hong suppressed the excitement in his heart. This might be his only chance of victory in this 3-sect party. Zhao Feng stood on the spot with his azure hair blowing in the wind. His eyes squinted and an evil aura radiated from him. Being stared at by him, Li Hong had an illusion that his mind and soul were in turmoil. Brotherly, admit defeat. You're not my match. Zhao Feng's azure hair blew in the wind and an invisible mental energy fluctuation shot into Li Hong's heart. You! Li Hong's body froze. In the next instant, he felt as if countless bolts of lightning were descending from the sky, and the ground beneath his feet was collapsing. He had fallen into an endless hell. After returning to the sect, Zhao Feng's comprehension of the lightning profundity had reached a whole new level. What was inconceivable was that he had fused the profound meaning of lightning into the Tao of illusions, which had produced unimaginable power. Not good. The moment Li Hong's mind fell into a gap, he felt a strong gust of wind. Bang! Zhao Feng sent him flying with a kick. Hua! The disciples of the 3 sects were in an uproar. What was going on? So it's the secret spirit art. This kid actually knows how to study unorthodox methods. Although it's an unorthodox path, it's hard to defend against it. The 2nd-ranked ancient shrine is an example. The elders of the 3 sects exchanged glances. At this moment, Li Hong sat on the ground in a daze. Thanks for letting me win. Zhao Feng looked indifferent. The expressions of those from the Silver Moon clan were extremely ugly. They didn't think that Zhao Feng, who had the lowest cultivation in the Broken Moon clan, would be so strong. Li Hong was actually defeated without the slightest bit of resistance. Spirit's secret art. Ao Yuetian fell into deep thought. He suddenly thought of Lin Tong, who was ranked second among the 4 stars. Of the 4 stars, Lin Tong was the most mysterious. He came from the ancient shrine and he had used his rare bloodline to train in the clan's heavenly absent eye. When Lin Tong truly used the heavenly absent eye, he only needed one glance to shatter the opponent's mind and cause them to lose. Some geniuses that had been defeated by Lin Tong would even become insane. Some would even leave a shadow in the depths of their hearts. Even Ao Yuetian, who dared to challenge Zhang Yue, didn't dare to challenge Lin Tong. This was because the latter was too weird and his attacks were hard to defend against. The current Zhao Feng also cultivated mental energy. Of course, Ao Yuetian wouldn't put Zhao Feng in his eyes. The latter's mental energy was like child's play in his eyes. The 4 stars of the Alliance stood at the top of the pyramid of geniuses. They were knowledgeable and looked down on everyone else. Who else wants to spar with this Zhao? Zhao Feng smiled faintly as his gaze landed on Meng Yun. Meng Yun's body froze, but he wasn't afraid and he stood up to fight. His cultivation was strong, and his mind was firm. As long as he was on guard, he wouldn't be afraid of Zhao Feng. As long as he wasn't afraid of the other's mental energy, winning would be easy. Brother Zhao, I admit that I've underestimated you, but don't even think about using the same method against me. Meng Yun snickered coldly. Hee, is that so? I don't believe it. Zhao Feng laughed lightly as his azure hair blew without any wind and the wicked aura around him became stronger. Meng Yun's face was full of wariness as he leapt towards Zhao Feng, leaving behind a string of afterimages. With his cultivation at the peak 5th sky, Meng Yun's battle power couldn't be underestimated. Bam! Zhao Feng roared and an invisible mental energy sound wave struck Meng Yun like lightning. Although Meng Yun's speed was fast, it couldn't be faster than his thoughts and mental energy attacks. Boom! Meng Yun's body swayed and his mind was shaken. The blood in his body churned and his organs shook. In an instant, his face turned pale and a trace of blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth. The disciples of the 3 sects were shocked. Even some of the elders were surprised. They didn't expect Zhao Feng's mental energy to be so powerful. Zhao Feng's mental energy made rapid progress in his cultivation. It was 10 times or even 100 times more efficient than cultivating internal force or body tempering. Li Fuwan was right. Mental energy was the most suitable inheritance for Zhao Feng. Moreover, Zhao Feng's mental energy had merged with the profundity of the lightning inheritance. Now, Zhao Feng had mastered the first floor of the lightning inheritance. How was that possible? Meng Yun wiped the blood off his face, but he didn't give up easily. He firmly believed that Zhao Feng wouldn't be a match for him in a head-on battle. Breaking moon wind riding style. Meng Yun waved the fan in his hand and a silver wind swept towards Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't try to dodge, his lips curling into a cold smile. Lightning wind palm. He suddenly met it with a palm strike. The wind stirred and thunder roared. Arcs of lightning wreaked havoc in the wild wind like a spider web. Thunder boomed and the momentum was like a rainbow. The elders of the 3 sects were shocked when he made his move. The power of this palm has probably reached the 5th level of the lightning wind palm. It's equivalent to the peak of this cultivation technique. First elder exclaimed. In an instant, Meng Yun's breaking moon wind riding style was destroyed by the palm. At the same time, lightning and thunder intertwined around his body. In the next moment, he lost consciousness. Plop! Everyone saw Meng Yun bleeding from his 7 orifices and he fainted. Senior brother Meng! A few disciples of the Lin Moon sect immediately came to his rescue. Zhao Feng stood in the night wind and his azure hair blew in the wind. His one eye gave off a cold feeling that made people's hearts go cold. Some people even felt their hair stand on end. This brat was terrifying. The disciples of the 3 sects felt cold. No one would have thought that the scariest of the 3 core disciples of the Broken Moon clan wasn't Yangon or Bei Moi, but the one with the lowest cultivation, Zhao Feng. Not only did Zhao Feng specialize in mental energy, his normal battle power was also terrifying. Sending Ningyun flying with one palm meant that his aura was even stronger than Bai Mua's. Li Hong and Meng Fei wanted to find a pushover, but they stepped on a mine. Who else? Zhao Feng's eyes scanned across the crowd. The 3 core disciples of the Silver Moon clan didn't make a sound. Shang Guanyu most likely had no chance of winning. Mao Fei had just fought and was exhausted, so his chances of winning weren't high. If he lost to a brat at the Forest Sky, it would be a huge loss of face for the Silver Moon clan. For the sake of fairness, everyone can only fight 2 rounds in a row, Aoi Wetian suddenly said. According to the rules, everyone could only fight 2 rounds in a row even if they won. Okay. Zhao Feng nodded his head and walked off the stage. As Zhao Feng walked off the stage, the 3 core disciples of the Broken Moon clan all showed their skills. The Broken Moon clan was destined to become famous in this 3-clan party. Zhao Feng, your lightning wind palm seems to have reached the 5th level and you're just 1 level away from the highest level? Hai Yun Master's eyes twinkled as if he was curious. Zhao Feng obviously knew what he meant. In the past, the geniuses that trained the lightning wind palm to the highest level all died. I might need 1 or 2 years to break through to the 6th level. Bao Feng's expression didn't change. His lightning wind palm had reached the 7th level after being improved. The same 5th level had been perfected by Zhao Feng and he had merged the laws of lightning into it, making it more than twice as strong as the original lightning wind palm. Hai Yun Master obviously didn't know about this and he thought, this Zhao Feng seemed to be perfecting his lightning wind palm and he didn't know if he could survive after reaching the 6th level. If Zhao Feng died to the lightning wind palm, then he wouldn't have to worry about him. The sparring session was still ongoing. After that, the Lin Moon clan and Silver Moon clan started sparring. Shang Guanyu challenged Zhao Yufei, who also had an inheritance. Zhao Yufei's cultivation had reached the peak 5th sky and she had received an inheritance in the trial. After 20 moves, Zhao Yufei used a strategy similar to Bai Mua to defeat Shang Guanyu. What inheritance did she receive? Zhao Feng had observed carefully, but he didn't feel anything. Zhao Yufei's movement technique was as light as a fairy, just like his illusion fish movement technique, full of changes. In terms of attack, it wasn't lacking in elegance. In terms of defense, it was considered strong, or else she wouldn't have been able to block Shang Guanyu's fierce attacks. But all in all, Zhao Feng didn't see anything special about it. Zhao Yufei's victory was a simple one. She then challenged Bai Mua. Inheritance versus inheritance. Zhao Yufei's movement technique and attacks were still swift and graceful. They looked like floating clouds and flowing water, pleasing to the eye. Zhao Feng couldn't help but use his left eye to observe and found that Zhao Yufei's true force was transparent and extremely pure. It was as if it had merged with her flesh and blood, and when she circulated it, it was as smooth as flowing water. Zhao Yufei and Bai Mua exchanged close to 100 moves and they were evenly matched. Bai Mua was suppressed by Zhao Yufei most of the time, but because he specialized in defense, he didn't lose. After 100 moves, according to the rules, the two ended in a draw. Zhao Feng saw something fishy. Zhao Yufei's inheritance should belong to the support category, and he even felt that Zhao Yufei's bloodline wasn't simple. If not, how could her true force reach such a pure and flawless level? The most unbelievable part was that it had merged with her flesh and blood. Furthermore, after 100 moves, Bai Mua was slightly out of breath while Zhao Yufei was full of energy. And this was the result of 2 battles. Zhao Yufei was slightly regretful. She had originally wanted to challenge Zhao Feng or Yanggan, but she had already fought 2 battles and could only wait for the next few rounds. Chapter 213. The sparring between Zhao Yufei and Bai Mua was obviously a spectacular performance that pushed the excitement of the 3-clan party to the peak. At this point, the 3-clan party had entered the final stage. Usually, this would be the final battle between the head disciples. However, Aoi Wetian slowly stood up and cupped his fists. This 3-clan party is more exciting than the past. If no one has any objections, then the sparring will end here. What? The expressions of the disciples changed dramatically. Ao Yuetian wanted to end the sparring? As the host, he didn't want to come out and spar? The head disciples of the Broken Moon Clan and Lin Moon Clan had ugly expressions. Does this Ao Yuetian look down on us? Yangon's eyebrows furrowed. Ao Yuetian, you're going too far. Even if you're one of the 4 stars, you can't humiliate the Silver Moon Clan like this. Mao Fei's chest was filled with anger. Ao Yuetian's actions made the disciples of the 2 clans unhappy, and it was like slapping their head disciples in the face. Ao Yuetian! Of course we have objections. If you, the number 1 genius, don't come out, how can the 3-clan party be considered a success? Mao Fei slowly walked out and battle intent surged. The alliance banquet of the 13 clans is my battlefield. Your strength isn't enough. But if you really want to fight, then Yangon and Mao Fei, please come at me together. Only then will it be interesting. Ao Yuetian said arrogantly. Hearing this, the crowd started to curse. Ao Yuetian, don't be arrogant. Ao Yuetian, I think you're a coward and don't dare to fight. Facing the cursing, Ao Yuetian didn't get angry. I just don't want to waste time. Ao Yuetian, it's impossible for the 2 of us to fight together. If you have the time, then fight the 2 of us first. Yangon said deeply. Ao Yuetian's arrogance had offended all the disciples of the 2 clans. Fine. Under the pressure, Ao Yuetian could only fight. In reality, he had purposely created this situation, but Yangon didn't fall for it and didn't want to fight 2 against 1. Otherwise, he would be able to beat the head disciples of 2 clans by himself. More importantly, he could show off his prowess in front of the woman he loved. Thinking of this, he glanced at Zhao Yufei from the corner of his eye. He found that Zhao Yufei's attention was on the 3 from the Broken Moon Clan. In the middle of the field, the 2 geniuses faced each other from a distance. Ao Yuetian stood tall and handsome with his hands behind his back. Although he didn't make a move, an invisible pressure spread out from him. Mao Fei took a deep breath. Only when he faced Ao Yuetian did he realize how terrifying the latter was. The pressure that Ao Yuetian gave him wasn't any weaker than the 7 Sky Seniors in the clan. Mao Feng did not dare to delay. He quickly condensed all the true power in his body, releasing a layer of sharp silver light. Flying Cloud Mirage. In the night, Mao Fei left behind a few silver afterimages that surrounded Ao Yuetian in a triangular formation. In terms of speed, Mao Fei was the best in the 3-sect party. In a short instant, he spun around Ao Yuetian and countless silver lines enveloped Ao Yuetian like countless blades. Death of 1,000 cuts. Mao Fei combined his wondrous movement technique and completed this terrifying move. This move could be said to be deadly, and in theory, it could turn a person into a 1,000-layer cake. Many spectators felt their hearts go cold as they watched Ao Yuetian being sliced apart by the silver lines. Ao Yuetian didn't even move, and he still stood there with his hands behind his back. Moon God War Body! A layer of silver light appeared on Ao Yuetian's body, and it was like the lines of skin and flesh. He's indeed learnt Moon God War! Moon God War Body is the signature skill of this skill. Not only the Lin Moon Clan, even the other 2 clans exclaimed. Moon God War was a forbidden cultivation technique, similar to an inheritance, forming a system of its own. In this world, cultivation techniques were not necessarily stronger just because they were inherited. There were some peerless techniques that were all-encompassing and could dominate the world with just a single one. Moon God War Body. Countless silver lines slashed onto Ao Yuetian's body, and the power that was enough to shatter normal low-grade god-grade weapons seemed to melt into water, causing a small ripple before disappearing. The moonlight membrane around Ao Yuetian's body seemed to be flowing, and it was as beautiful as jade. It made him look extraordinarily handsome, like a god of the moon that had descended to the mortal world. What a mysterious skill! It contains the laws of moonlight and a soft defense similar to Bei Mua's dark water inheritance. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh. With his left eye, he could see even more clearly. Furthermore, Zhao Feng saw something that other people didn't see. Ao Yuetian had a bloodline that wasn't normal, which was his bloodline power. This was the reason why he was able to learn the forbidden skill Moon God War. Mao Fei's powerful attack didn't injure Ao Yuetian at all. Lose! Ao Yuetian waved his hand and a bright silver beam of light shot out from his palm. It was bright and beautiful, but it contained extreme destructive power. Boom! Mao Fei was sent flying by the attack and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone was stunned. He was too strong. It was as if Ao Yuetian had been possessed by the moon god. His offense and defense were both extremely high. A forbidden skill that uses the power of his bloodline. No wonder he's so arrogant. Zhao Feng's left eye had almost completely analyzed Ao Yuetian's power. Unfortunately, he couldn't use a skill that required the power of his bloodline even if he could comprehend it. He and Ao Yuetian both had bloodline powers, but they weren't the same type. In just one move, Mao Fei had lost. The spectators took a long time to react, and they couldn't help but take in cold breaths. Immediately after, Yang Gan went up without any fear on his face. Even if he lost, he would fight with all his strength to increase his strength. Dominating Moon Sky Blade, Yang Gan slashed out with all his might with the ancient golden saber in his hand, emitting an unprecedented domineering aura. The saber light whistled like a surging river, forming layers of saber waves. Compared to when he fought Mao Fei, Yang Gan's battle power was even stronger. No one knew if it was because he had hidden it before or because he had squeezed out his potential. Dominating Moon Sky River Rage, Yang Gan's attack surged upwards and every slash would cause the moonlight on Ao Yuetian's body to ripple and dim a bit. Ao Yuetian's expression changed slightly as he waved his hand and beams of moonlight clashed with Yang Gan. Ding ding dang dang, sparks flew from Yang Gan's blade and the remaining air forced him to retreat. After 3 moves, there were several bloody gashes on his body. Moon God Shadow! Ao Yuetian dragged a patch of moonlight behind him and 3 figures hit Yang Gan at the same time. Wah! Yang Gan immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and his long blade fell to the ground. Shwa! The 3 moonlight figures returned to one body. So all 3 were real. Moon God War lives up to its name. Yang Gan wiped the blood from his mouth and accepted his loss. After winning, Ao Yuetian looked at the disciples of the 3 sects with arrogance. At this moment, he proved that his previous words weren't arrogant. Even Yang Gan and Mao Fei had to admit that even if the 2 of them attacked together, they would lose even more. The number 1 genius of the 3 sects indeed lives up to his name. Zhao Feng nodded his head. Ao Yuetian did have the right to be arrogant. At his level, the 3 clan party didn't even put him in their eyes. Zhao Feng analyzed that even if he revealed his bloodline power and lightning inheritance, he would only be able to fight to a draw with Ao Yuetian. After all, Ao Yuetian also had a bloodline power, and he cultivated a powerful forbidden skill. But if Zhao Feng's cultivation was a bit higher, and he had a deeper understanding of mental energy and lightning inheritance, he would have a chance of winning. If there's no objections. This is the end of the small sparring session. Ao Yuetian scanned the crowd. Amongst them, Bei Moi was unwilling and he tried to challenge. He opened his bag and took out a gold-green silk robe and put it on. If you don't accept this, we'll meet again at the Alliance banquet. Ao Yuetian refused to fight again. With his strength and fame, he did have the right to refuse all the battles after beating Yang Gan and Mao Fei. Yu Fei has an objection. A young girl's voice, as gentle as the sounds of nature, rang out. Chapter 214. Hearing Zhao Feng's words, everyone's expressions changed. This was the reason why Zhao Yufei challenged him. It was hard to imagine how deep Zhao Feng's strength had been in Zhao Yufei's heart in the past. Others might not understand Zhao Feng's path of growth. But Zhao Yufei had witnessed Zhao Feng's miraculous path from the Zhao clan. She watched as Zhao Feng surpassed her, and no matter how she tried to catch up, she could only stare at his back. In the same era, the clash between geniuses could become a legend and a much-told tale. But when a genius was too strong, it would be the tragedy of the other geniuses. At least in Sun Feather City and the Guanjuan Palace, Zhao Feng was such an existence. He was like a monster that surpassed the geniuses of an era. Zhao Linlong, Zhao Yufei, Feng Hanwei, Nan Gongfan, Yang Qishan, and even Bei Mua. Any one of them were prodigies of their respective regions. Unfortunately, Zhao Yufei had witnessed all of this. In his impression, that young man who was always calm and confident was imprinted in his heart like an invincible and imposing figure. Now that Zhao Yufei had grown up, her potential, which was comparable to that of an earthly spiritual body, had been unearthed. When they met again, her cultivation had surpassed Zhao Feng's. However, the moment they met, Zhao Yufei found that she was still the same person, and Zhao Feng was still the invincible youth. This was the flaw in her mental state. As a top genius with the legendary Earth's spiritual body, she had her own pride and confidence. She wouldn't allow such a knot to exist in her heart. "Brother Zhao Feng, I've been waiting for this battle for a long time." Zhao Yufei smiled sweetly. Her beauty was soul-stirring. At the very least, the moment the battle started, her confidence and courage reached a peak, temporarily overcoming the flaw in her mental state. When Zhao Yufei smiled, her beauty almost made the disciples of the three sects lose their souls. Ao Yuetian was slightly jealous in his heart. Why wasn't he the one who became Zhao Yufei's knot? Could it be that he, as one of the four rising stars of the Alliance, was not strong enough and could not compare to a stage 4 kid? Ao Yuetian was unhappy. At least, in Zhao Yufei's heart, Ao Yuetian wasn't unsurpassable, he wasn't as important as Zhao Feng. That was the truth. Zhao Yufei's feelings towards Zhao Feng included admiration, worship, and even a little girl's dependence. After all, there was no girl who didn't like a strong man. However, the current Zhao Yufei was no longer the same as before. Under everyone's gaze, Zhao Feng fell into a short period of silence and thought. His green hair fluttered in the night wind, adding a touch of evil and ghostly charm. Zhao Yufei was waiting. If Zhao Feng didn't want to accept the challenge, there was nothing she could do. Furthermore, if Zhao Feng didn't use his full strength or wasn't at his peak, even if she won, she wouldn't be able to make up for the flaw in her heart. Zhao Feng also understood this point. The disciples of the three sects began to discuss among themselves. What is this Zhao Feng's background? To think that he was able to suppress Goddess Violet Smoke, who has a talent comparable to an Earth's spiritual body. The talent of a changeable spiritual body is special. Maybe Sister Yufei's talent hadn't been discovered yet. Furthermore, in an area lacking in qi, the talent of a spiritual body would be greatly restricted. A while later. "Yufei, I can't accept your challenge," Zhao Feng suddenly said. Not accepting the challenge? Everyone was surprised. To be able to fight against Goddess Violet Smoke, any disciple would be overwhelmed. Even Ao Yuetian was willing to accept the challenge. Why? Could it be that Brother Zhao Feng is worried that I'll lose and have a mental breakdown? You don't need to worry about this, I'm not that weak. Moreover, I still held back a bit of my strength in the previous spar, Zhao Yufei said confidently. Hearing this, the representative disciples of the three-sect party were shocked. Zhao Yufei had held back a bit in the previous sparring. Didn't this mean that her true strength was stronger than Bei Moi and Mao Fei, or even comparable to Yang Gan? Because I have no chance of winning, and now isn't the time. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. What? The disciples of the three sects were all shocked and doubtful. Zhao Feng, how dare you speak such arrogant words? I think he's a coward and doesn't dare to accept the challenge. The disciples of the Lin Moon clan expressed their disdain and cursed. Hearing this, Zhao Yufei's heart shook and her face went pale. She understood Zhao Feng and he wouldn't say anything he wasn't confident in. Between you and me, we should have a 50-50 chance of winning. Unfortunately, there's a flaw in my heart. Once I use my mental energy technique, you won't be able to block it. Your resistance won't even be as strong as those of the same rank. Zhao Feng said calmly. Bullshit. Ignorant brat, you dare to say that you're on par with me? The disciples of the Lin Moon clan cursed. But hearing this, Zhao Yufei's expression was solemn, and she didn't doubt it at all. In the past, she had lost to Zhao Feng many times. For Zhao Yufei, this 50-50 victory was already an indescribable reality. Unfortunately, Zhao Feng's mental energy technique would deal several times more damage to Zhao Yufei. This was because the flaw in Zhao Yufei's heart was how Zhao Feng could block it. So, now isn't the time for us to fight yet. Why don't we wait for the alliance banquet half a year from now? Zhao Feng finally threw out his answer. I'll wait for that day at the alliance banquet. Zhao Yufei nodded, and her clear eyes were filled with anticipation and yearning. Half a year's time was enough for Zhao Yufei to find a way to block the mental energy technique. Furthermore, the alliance banquet of the 13 clans was the true stage for geniuses, and the 4 stars were at the top of the clouds. If they could compete with Zhao Feng and those peerless geniuses on this stage, just how exciting would that be? This was the wish of countless geniuses. It's a deal. Zhao Feng let out a breath in his heart. Finally, it's over. At this stage, he didn't want to fight Zhao Yufei. If Zhao Yufei didn't have a flaw in her mental state, with her strength and unknown bloodline power, she might be able to fight Zhao Feng for a long time. She might even be able to force Zhao Feng to use his hidden cards. This was something that Zhao Feng didn't want to see. Furthermore, if Zhao Feng used his mental energy technique, Zhao Yufei's flaw would be hard to block. This was the truth, there was no falsehood. Although Zhao Feng had entered the path of mental energy late, he still knew some common knowledge. If he knew a person's flaw and used a mental energy technique on it, it would be a fatal threat. As Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei left the stage, the sparring finally came to an end. The green-haired, one-eyed youth gave everyone an even more mysterious and strange feeling. After the sparring ended, the 3-clan party didn't completely end. Next, the geniuses of the 3 clans drank tea and discussed amongst themselves to increase the strength of the 3 geniuses. After every sparring session, the rookie disciples would be able to learn many things through comments and discussions of their experiences. Even Zhao Feng and Bei Mo weren't an exception. After all, apart from Ao Yuetian, none of the other disciples were able to suppress everyone. In the discussion, Ao Yuetian was the leader. After all, in terms of cultivation and knowledge, he surpassed the disciples of the same generation. However, Ao Yuetian wasn't a humble person and his words were sharp and merciless. Mao Fei and the other 2 from the Silver Moon clan were all criticized by Ao Yuetian. Brother Ao, I've learned a lot. Mao Fei was humble. After all, Ao Yuetian was strong enough to beat him in 1 or 2 moves. After that, Ao Yuetian then evaluated the 3 from the Broken Moon clan. As for Yangon, Ao Yuetian gave him a not bad. With Brother Yang's strength, you can probably get into the top 20 in the alliance banquet. Ao Yuetian added. Only top 20? The disciples of the 2 clans were slightly surprised. After all, the strength that Yangon had displayed at the alliance banquet was shocking and he was even stronger than Mao Fei. In the past alliance banquets, 70 to 80% of the top 20 are occupied by the top 3 sections. Mockery appeared on Ao Yuetian's face. Yangon smiled. I've also heard about this. The top 3 sects of the alliance were the Cloud Sword clan, Ancient Shrine and Xianjun clan. They had a long history and deep foundations. In the past, the other clans didn't even have the right to be one of the 4 stars. On the other hand, Brother Ao brought glory to our 3 clans and became one of the 4 stars. Hearing this, the expressions of the disciples from the 3 clans changed. The top 3 sects were too powerful, and the disciples they nurtured were undoubtedly the best. It wasn't simple for Ao Yuetian to become one of the 4 stars. The 4 stars were Tsang Yuyue, Lin Tong, Su Zixuan and Ao Yuetian. The 4 rising stars stood at the top among the geniuses of the 13 clans. It was a glorious sight. Zhao Feng had to admit that Ao Yuetian did have the strength to look down on the younger generation of the 3 clans. Even if he used his trump card, he might not be able to beat Ao Yuetian. Furthermore, being one of the 4 stars, Ao Yuetian definitely had his own trump card. The strength that Ao Yuetian had displayed at the three-clan party was just the tip of the iceberg. Luckily, Zhao Feng didn't have any thoughts of standing out, and Ao Yuetian didn't want to spar with Zhao Feng. In Ao Yuetian's eyes, the three-clan party was just a game. In the entire 13 clans, only Tseng Yue and the other stars could be his opponents. Immediately after, Ao Yuetian evaluated Bei Moi and Zhao Feng. Your understanding of water hasn't touched the essence. Ao Yuetian coldly glanced at Bei Moi. Even a genius like Bei Moi was mercilessly defeated by him. Bei Moi had obtained the dark water inheritance, which was related to the profound meaning and intent of water. This was Bei Moi's forte, but Ao Yuetian didn't care about it at all. From this, one could see his own strength. Zhao Feng couldn't help but remember that Ao Yuetian's moon god war skill, apart from the understanding of moonlight, also used water. Bei Moi was expressionless and didn't make a sound. Since he wasn't as strong as Ao Yuetian, there was no point in counterattacking. Finally, it was Zhao Feng's turn to evaluate. As for you, a cold smile appeared on Ao Yuetian's face. Lightning is a high-tier power, and your crude use of it is equivalent to playing with fire. As for the mental energy you're so proud of, it's nothing compared to the successor of the ancient shrine. If you're unlucky enough to encounter Lin Tong, he can defeat you with just a glance. Chapter 215. Ao Yuetian's evaluation of Zhao Feng didn't hold back at all. Zhao Feng was the same as Bei Moi, expressionless and didn't have any reaction, like a block of wood. Ao Yuetian was one of the 4 stars, and any disciple he taught, no matter if it was praise or criticism, he would humbly accept it. Furthermore, most of the people here had been looked down upon by Ao Yuetian. Those from the Silver Moon clan even had to flatter him. Only the strong were respected. This was the law of the clan world. Even the fart of an expert was fragrant. Ao Yuetian stood at the peak of strength, and his words had weight. He had the right to judge everyone's weaknesses. Brother Zhao, Brother Bei, Brother Ao's words aren't without reason. Only by being humble and accepting our shortcomings can we make great progress. Yang Gon thought that Zhao Feng and Bei Moi weren't happy and comforted them. Although everyone felt that Ao Yuetian was arrogant, they all thought that he was straightforward. But what Yang Gon didn't know was that the reason why Zhao Feng and Bei Moi didn't react wasn't because they were unhappy, but because they couldn't be bothered to reply. Bei Moi was a silent person, and he knew that Ao Yuetian's words were reasonable. However, he wasn't happy with Ao Yuetian and wanted to challenge him, but the latter didn't even bother to fight. This was what made Bei Moi unhappy. As for Zhao Feng, although he didn't like Ao Yuetian either, he knew that the latter wasn't making things up. The lightning wind palm was a rather rough and incomplete skill. Although Zhao Feng had perfected it, he didn't dare to use the essence of the lightning inheritance too openly, so it was obviously rough. Therefore, Ao Yuetian said that Zhao Feng's usage of the lightning inheritance was very rough and pointed out the weak points. Apart from that, Ao Yuetian said that Zhao Feng's mental energy skills were weak, especially when compared to the successor of the ancient shrine. One had to know that Zhao Feng had only learnt mental energy skills for a few days. His improvement in a few days was equivalent to tens of years for others. Even the peerless geniuses of the ancient shrine would be shocked if they knew this. They might as well kill themselves with a piece of tofu. However, Ao Yuetian didn't know the details. Zhao Feng's mastery of mental energy was nothing compared to the geniuses of the ancient shrine. Looks like this Ao Yuetian is speaking the truth. It's just that people don't like to hear the truth, especially when he's attacking without any fear. Zhao Feng secretly admired Ao Yuetian's sharp eyes. That was to say, Ao Yuetian could see through everyone's weaknesses. His strength, experience, and vision were too high. No wonder he didn't care about the 3-sect party. As expected of one of the 4 rising stars, Zhao Feng wasn't unhappy at all. Ao Yuetian was telling the truth, it was just that he didn't know the details and had underestimated himself. I wonder what exactly is formidable about this Lin Tong that Brother Ao mentioned? Zhao Feng showed a hint of interest. He was curious about Ao Yuetian's ability to defeat his opponent with one glance. This Lin Tong is the scariest of the 4 stars. He has a unique bloodline and has trained the ancient shrine's ultimate skill, the Heavenly Absent Eye. When he uses the Heavenly Absent Eye, all he needs to do is look at his opponent, and they will be defeated instantly. Ao Yuetian's expression was solemn, and wariness appeared on his face when he mentioned Lin Tong. Defeating his opponent with one glance? That's terrifying. This is too weird. How can there be such a skill in this world? The expressions of all the disciples changed dramatically. As long as he uses the Heavenly Absent Eye, no one can escape. Apparently, even those at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm can't block one glance from him. Ao Yuetian took a deep breath. Heavenly Absent Eye? Zhao Feng murmured in his heart. Although he had obtained the heart-controlling skill from the hooded figure, it was far from being comparable to the Heavenly Absent Eye. One could imagine that Lin Tong's mastery of mental energy must have reached an extremely high level. If Lin Tong, who is ranked 2nd, is so terrifying, then what level has Tsang Yue, who is ranked 1st, reached? Everyone was filled with wariness and respect towards the 4 stars. Ao Yuetian was an example. The strength he had displayed at the 3-clan party was just the tip of the iceberg. Furthermore, Ao Yuetian was ranked last amongst the 4 stars. Tsang Yue, Lin Tong, Su Zixuan and Ao Yuetian. Everyone remembered the names of the 4 stars. Everyone here had the right to participate in the Alliance banquet, and it was best for them to know about their opponents. An hour later, the tea party had finally ended and the 3-clan party had come to an end. All right, everyone, we will meet again at the Alliance banquet in 5 months. Ao Yuetian stood up and announced. That night, everyone stayed at the Lin Moon clan. On the lakeside, Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei walked side by side, and under the moonlight, their shadows were stretched out. Zhao Feng calculated the time and realized that he had just turned 15 a few days ago. On this continent, one was only considered an adult at 16 and 15 was still a youth. However, Zhao Feng's calmness and experience gave people the feeling that he was older than his actual age. Brother Zhao Feng, is your eye really fine? Zhao Yufei was used to calling Zhao Feng like this even though she was older than him. Zhao Feng faintly smiled and took off the silver eye patch, revealing a pure azure eye. It was flawless and seemed deep and profound. The instant she saw this eye, Zhao Yufei's heart shook and her bloodline aura seemed to tremble slightly. Peh! 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 Zhao Feng felt his left eye twitch. He quickly put the eye patch back on. So Brother Zhao Feng has the same bloodline power as Brother Ao. Zhao Yufei's clear eyes lit up with a hint of envy. In the past, Zhao Feng's talent was average, but he was able to rise so quickly and terrifyingly strong she couldn't understand why. Now, the answer was revealed. Zhao Feng wasn't just a normal person, he had a rare bloodline inheritance. Furthermore, looking at how Zhao Feng covered his left eye, his bloodline power must be very strong. There's nothing to be envious of. Yufei, you seem to have a special bloodline aura in your body. This is my intuition. Zhao Feng smiled faintly and said. Really? Zhao Yufei was overjoyed. In reality, she also had a special feeling towards the changes in her body. The two chatted for a long time before returning. In the night, sending off Zhao Feng's figure with her eyes, disappointment appeared on Zhao Yufei's face. What kind of person does he think I am? The morning of the 2nd day. The group of people from the Broken Moon clan called the Giant Golden Eagles were on their way back. There's still 5 months until the 13-clan banquet. All of you need to be prepared. First Elder's voice sounded. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged, and even on the way back, he was still cultivating. Bei Moi and Yang Gon seemed to have been influenced by him, and they also used this time to cultivate or comprehend. The Broken Moon clan's counterattack this time made the other 2 clans look at them in a different light. The elders were all in a good mood. But after the 3-clan party, Yang Gon and the other 2 were stimulated to a certain extent. Ao Yuetian had given them a huge shock, especially the fame of the 4 stars. Yang Gan couldn't accept that he could only reach the top 20 with his strength. Bei Moi didn't like Aoi Wetian. Being a super genius, he had never met such a situation where Aoi Wetian was too disdainful to fight him. Xiao Feng did not receive too much of a shock, but he still managed to grasp his direction. My biggest weakness right now is that my cultivation is too low, Xiao Feng thought in his heart. Although he was the youngest in the three-clan party and had a shocking performance, the limitation of his low cultivation was very obvious. Therefore, on the way back, Xiao Feng sorted out his direction. Firstly, cultivation. This was the foundation and also the limiting factor of his strength. Secondly, the cultivation technique system with the lightning inheritance as its core needed to be improved. Thirdly, he had to dig deeper into the occult mind technique. Xiao Feng was confident in the third point. His talent in this area was too high. He was sure that this was the direction of his left eye. Xiao Feng had a direction in his heart how to merge mental energy with his left eye. Lin Tong, one of the 4 stars, had comprehended the heavenly absent eye, which should be a type of mental energy skill. He could defeat his opponent with just one look. Unknowingly, this gave Xiao Feng inspiration. After returning to the clan, Xiao Feng went into seclusion. Facing his first clan banquet, he didn't dare to let his guard down. In reality, he wasn't the only one who was cultivating. The other disciples were also preparing for the alliance banquet. 5 months wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. But for those at the ascended realm, the higher they went, the harder it was to break through. People like Ao Yuetian and Yang Gan had reached the 6th sky of the ascended realm, and it wasn't easy for them to break through even an inch. Relatively speaking, Xiao Feng was only at the 4th sky of the ascended realm and his starting point was low, so his rate of improvement was naturally faster. After returning to the clan, in just a month, Xiao Feng had reached the peak 4th sky of the ascended realm. After the floating crest trial, Xiao Feng had a lot of resources and crystal stones. Furthermore, as a true disciple, the sect was very generous in providing him with resources. Especially at this period of time, the clan gave him the most. Xiao Feng could cultivate in the 1,000-leaf pond without any restrictions. Around the 1,000-leaf pond was a large energy-gathering array and the pond itself had absorbed the essence of the heaven-earth yuan qi for countless years. Cultivating in the cold pond was extremely efficient. Time passed by quickly. In the blink of an eye, there was only a month left until the alliance banquet. Xiao Feng had already reached the 5th sky of the ascended realm a month ago. But after reaching the 5th sky of the ascended realm, he had obviously reached a bottleneck, and his progress became extremely slow. In this period of time, Xiao Feng had comprehended 30 to 40% of the first floor of the lightning inheritance. This wasn't just the tip of the iceberg, but the depths of the inheritance. Correspondingly, the lightning wind palm had been perfected and Xiao Feng had reached the 6th level. The 6th level of the lightning wind palm was the highest level in the past. At this level, Xiao Feng's life wasn't in danger, but he wouldn't attract lightning either. In terms of mental energy, Xiao Feng had already comprehended the heart-controlling technique 2 months ago. In fact, he had even finished reading some of the remaining cultivation methods and secret manuals related to spiritual secret arts in the sect. His cultivation, lightning inheritance, and mental energy skills had all reached a bottleneck. On this day, Xiao Feng finally came out of seclusion. Chapter 216. There was still a month until the alliance banquet. The reason why Xiao Feng had come out of seclusion was because he had reached a bottleneck in many aspects. However, the moment he came out, he had attracted the attention of the other disciples and even the higher-ups. This wasn't only because Xiao Feng was a seated participant, but also because of something else. At the peak of the mountain, in the residence of the elder, "Master, Xiao Feng has come out of seclusion," Quan Chen said respectfully. "In the past 2 months, the place where Xiao Feng has been cultivating has been filled with lightning. His lightning wind palm might be trying to reach the 6th level, or even the highest level. Inform Bei Moi and Yuan Ji." Haiyun elder stood with his hands behind his back. So, in the past few months, Zhao Feng had been focusing on cultivating and he had been extremely low profile, which was different from his usual arrogance. Apparently, there would be the sound of lightning in the sky above Zhao Feng's residence. Many people guessed that Mad Zhao was trying to reach the highest level of the lightning wind palm. In the history of the clan, there were very few geniuses who could reach the 6th level of the lightning wind palm. Most of them gave up halfway or became crippled or even met with misfortune. Even if there was a case where a genius with high comprehension trained the lightning wind palm to the highest level, he was struck by lightning and died. In the past few days, the lightning in Zhao Feng's residence had disappeared. Did he succeed? If he succeeded, would he be struck by lightning and die? This was a question that many people were concerned about, especially those who were enemies. The weird thing was that First Elder had remained silent about this. Why didn't First Elder stop Zhao Feng? There must be something fishy going on. Haiyun Elder wasn't a stupid person. In fact, a month ago, Haiyun Elder and the clan head went to find First Elder to ask for him to stop Zhao Feng. After all, Zhao Feng was a core disciple of the clan and the Alliance Banquet was counting on him to bring glory to the clan. In the end, First Elder shook his head and said that he couldn't stop him. He even sent people to protect Zhao Feng in the dark and not let anyone else interfere. Sky Moon Mountain. In an exquisite green jade mansion. Zhao Feng has come out of seclusion. Summon him immediately. The Broken Moon Clan Master said to Ran Xiaoyuan and Sister Yuan. Master, why do you value him so much? Senior Sister Yuan asked in confusion. Although Zhao Feng was a direct disciple, he was still just a disciple and not a disciple of the sect master. There's still a month before the Alliance Convention starts. The disciples of the ancient shrine specialize in mental energy techniques and will be the biggest headache. And Zhao Feng is the only disciple in our sect who is proficient in spiritual occult techniques. The Broken Moon Clan said with a faint smile. I see. Realization dawned on Senior Sister Yuan. The Broken Moon Clan Master's actions were for the benefit of the clan. If Zhao Feng was willing to help, the participating disciples would be able to feel the mental energy attack and have a way to deal with it. When the time comes, they would have a higher chance of winning against the terrifying successor of the ancient shrine. The reason why the sect master looked for Zhao Feng so quickly was because he was worried that Zhao Feng would soon enter the next round of closed-door cultivation. Meanwhile, First Elder's mansion. Feng'er has finally come out of seclusion. First Elder's expression was filled with expectation and worry. Could Zhao Feng succeed? Would he be able to break through the lightning wind palm? Summon Zhao Feng immediately. First Elder ordered. Master, it seems like the sect master has also sent people to find Brother Zhao. Yangon said. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's exiting seclusion attracted the attention of the entire sect, and there was even some disturbance. The new disciples were more concerned about Zhao Feng's increase in strength. The first and second ranked core disciples, Yangon and Bei Moi, had reached a bottleneck after returning from the 3-clan party. Bei Moi was still a distance away from the peak 5th sky. Yangon was still at the 6th sky, and reaching the peak 6th sky wasn't something that could be done in a few months. According to common sense, if Yangon wanted to break through to the 7th sky, it would take at least 2 to 3 years, and at most 10 years. Unless one's talent had reached the legendary Earth's spiritual body and was provided with many times more resources, otherwise it would be extremely hard to break through in a few months. The 7th sky of the Ascended Realm was a total of 7 transformations. It was harder and harder to surpass the limit. On the other hand, Zhao Feng was only at the 4th sky of the Ascended Realm, so his rate of improvement was faster. He had just come out of seclusion not long ago, and there was an endless stream of people coming to visit him. Lin Fan was the first to arrive, followed by Yun Mingxiang, Xiao Sun, Su Rin, Lu Yuer and some core disciples. Congratulations, Brother Zhao. You've trained the lightning wind palm to the highest level. Quan Chen said with a fake smile. As soon as he said this, the crowd went into an uproar and many disciples started to flatter him. Most people would congratulate Zhao Feng for breaking through, but he mentioned the lightning wind palm, meaning that he was testing Zhao Feng. It's just a lightning wind palm, it's nothing. I'll even consider changing to a higher rank skill soon, Zhao Feng said ambiguously. His tone seemed arrogant, but it made others feel uncertain. Did Zhao Feng succeed or not? What did he mean by changing his skill? Why does Zhao Feng want to change his skill? Could it be that he's reached the 6th level of the lightning wind palm, but it's too dangerous and he can't use it easily? Quan Chen's eyes twinkled. His way of thinking was very logical. According to the records, there was a high chance of being struck to death by lightning when the lightning wind palm was trained to the highest level. Since Zhao Feng wasn't dead and he wanted to change to a higher rank skill, there must be something he was worried about. A while later, Yang Gan, Ran Xiaoyuan and Sister Yuan all arrived. The clan master and the elders all wanted to find Zhao Feng, so they decided to meet at the central division. Sure. Zhao Feng nodded his head and went to the central division with the other core disciples. Central division. The clan master, first elder and Haiyun master were all present. The Broken Moon clan master had a smile on her face. First elder was expressionless, but his eyes were filled with anticipation. Haiyun master's eyes were like torches as he stared at Zhao Feng. Soon, the three stated their intentions. There were only two things. Firstly, the problem of Zhao Feng training the lightning wind palm. Secondly, the clan needed Zhao Feng to use a mental energy technique and let the core disciples experience it. Zhao Feng immediately agreed to the second point. How many people are participating in the Alliance banquet? Zhao Feng asked. 10. The Broken Moon clan master answered. Zhao Feng thought to himself, there are a lot of people, more than I expected. The first elder explained. According to the rules, each alliance sect has 3 fixed quotas. The other spots need to be paid a large amount of primal crystal stones. After all, the alliance banquet also has rewards and the 13 clans need to contribute money. Zhao Feng understood. The alliance banquet was a big stage, and it was a chance for the elites of the clans to improve themselves. Therefore, the 13 clans didn't mind paying a huge price for one spot. The 10 core disciples of the Broken Moon clan were all participating in the alliance banquet. But of the 13 clans, the top few clans had more spots. After all, these clans had much more money. The Broken Moon clan master smiled. The ancient shrine walks the path of elites, and almost every disciple can reach the top 20. Therefore, if our disciples want to reach the top 20, they will have to fight with them. She also requested that when Zhao Feng used his mental energy techniques, he couldn't injure these core disciples, much less leave a shadow behind. Everyone had seen how strong Zhao Feng's mental energy technique was at the 3-clan party, and even those at the 5th sky of the Ascended Realm couldn't block it. No problem. It depends on one's willpower, and it can increase one's resistance by 10% to 100%. Zhao Feng nodded his head in agreement. This was the time for him to make a contribution and the clan would definitely reward him, including contribution points, primal crystal stones and other benefits. The higher Zhao Feng's position in the clan was, the more protection he would receive and even Lord Guanjuan and the Zhao clan would benefit from it. Haiyun Master's expression was slightly ugly, but it was soon replaced by a bright smile. Martial Nephew Zhao, how's your lightning wind palm going? Apparently, when this skill reaches the highest level, it can kill anyone under the True Spirit Realm and even those at the True Spirit Realm would have to avoid it. Haiyun Master finally asked the question he was most concerned about. Kill anyone under the True Spirit Realm? Everyone's heart jumped. This lightning wind palm is way too terrifying. The true disciples present looked at Man Zhao with fear in their eyes. Crazy Zhao was the nickname given to Zhao Feng by the members of the Broken Moon clan. Firstly, his name had the word Feng in it, and secondly, his lightning wind palm was extremely arrogant, and no one in the clan dared to offend him. Could it be that he's trained lightning wind palm to the highest level? Everyone was shocked. Even the clan master and elders were concerned about this question. Disciple has indeed trained it to the highest level. Zhao Feng replied. Hearing this, everyone in the hall was stunned. Quan Chen, Bei Moi and company felt as if they had been hit by a heavy blow. Feng'er, are you feeling unwell? Are you in danger? First Elder asked caringly. Zhao Feng explained. I've perfected this skill to reduce the danger to the lowest. However, its power is equivalent to a high-class mortal skill when trained to the max level. If a peak-class mortal skill was trained to the max level, its power would be terrifying, especially when it was related to lightning. Then, is it true that the highest level of the lightning wind palm can summon lightning from the 9 heavens? Haiyun Master's eyes locked onto him. According to Zhao Feng's description, although the lightning wind palm was terrifying, it wasn't too monstrous. It's true, Zhao Feng said. It was true. Everyone took in a cold breath. Even the sect master and the elders were moved. Of course, any power that exceeds one's cultivation has a price and a limit. Zhao Feng continued. Limit and price? Hearing this, Haiyun Master thought in his heart. As expected. To summon lightning, you need to be in a cloudy or stormy weather. In cloudy weather, there's a 50% chance of summoning lightning. In stormy weather, there's a 100% chance of summoning lightning. This is the limit. Pausing for a moment, Zhao Feng continued. Once the lightning is summoned, it will unleash a power that is more than 10 times stronger than one's own. It can kill anyone under the true spirit realm, and those at the true spirit realm may be heavily injured if they face it head-on. Of course, the price is that there's a 50% chance that I'll be killed by the lightning. The stronger the lightning, the higher the chance of me being killed. However, there was one time where Zhao Feng broke through Yang Gan's mental defenses. The latter clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Impossible! No one can replace my head disciple! Bei Moi! Zhao Feng! You're still far from it. How is this possible? Of course, even though Yang Gan's mental defenses were broken, he quickly recovered. The entire process only lasted half a breath. Half a breath was enough to decide life and death in a battle between experts. Brother Zhao, Cold sweat appeared on Yang Gan's forehead. Zhao Feng smiled. It's fine, no one is perfect. Everyone has a flaw in their mind. Yang Gan felt a bit guilty but didn't continue to pursue the matter. Facing Zhao Feng's mental attacks, Yang Gan's resistance had also become stronger. The third round of mental energy techniques, mental energy illusion. The path of illusions was extremely profound and could be used in many different areas. For example, movement skills and illusion arrays. Zhao Feng's mental energy technique was a combination of the illusion fish picture, heart controlling technique, and other mental energy techniques. Brother Yang, I'm going to start. Zhao Feng's voice was filled with enticement, and his eyes were filled with curiosity. The instant Yang Gan's eyes met Zhao Feng's eyes, his face struggled for a moment before returning back to normal. This illusion attack is so strong. Yang Gan was slightly surprised. Zhao Feng's mental energy illusion merged with the illusion fish picture, and its power was unimaginable. The illusion fish picture was extremely profound in the area of arrays. Using Old Man Shang's words, if you could understand the illusion fish picture, the two of us wouldn't have the right to be your teacher. By now, Zhao Feng had almost fully comprehended the illusion fish picture, and when combined with mental energy illusion, its power was terrifying. I've only used 30 to 40% of my power. Zhao Feng lightly smiled as he once again used his mental energy illusion technique. His mental energy illusion techniques were split into 2 types. The first type, illusion attacks. That night when Zhao Feng was attacked by the hooded figure, it was this type. The second type, illusion confusion. Zhao Feng's forte was the second type, combining the illusion fish picture, and could make the opponent's consciousness fall into an illusion. When Zhao Feng used 60 to 70% of his power, Yang Gan had already fallen into a trance. Every trance lasted from half a breath to 1 or 2 breaths. 2 days later, Zhao Feng's explanation of Yang Gan's mental energy came to an end. The surrounding people saw Yang Gan walk out in a daze, his expression a bit ragged. Immediately after, Bei Moi, Ran Xiaoyuan, Yuan Ji and company all became Xiao Feng's targets. Xiao Feng was surprised to find that Bei Moi's resistance towards mental energy was even stronger than Yang Gan's. This was related to the dark water laws he had comprehended. Bei Moi didn't just specialize in defense in real life, his mental energy defense was also very strong under the dark water laws. After 2 days of training, Bei Moi also left in a haggard state. The third was Ran Xiaoyuan. Ran Xiaoyuan had successfully reached the 4th core disciple rank, just below Xiao Feng and Bei Moi. Ran Xiaoyuan's performance was very normal. When he was being invaded, Ran Xiaoyuan's performance made Xiao Feng stunned. "I like seeing your brother Zhao, seeing your sister. Don't tell anyone else." Ran Xiaoyuan's face was bright red, and she said anxiously. The entire process lasted for a few breaths. Zhao Feng pretended like he didn't find anything, but he gave some pointers to Ran Xiaoyuan. 10 days later, the 9 core disciples all walked out of Zhao Feng's place. Yang Gan, Bei Moi and Ran Xiaoyuan were the main targets. The people behind them only needed a day and a half to pass. Of course, those that Zhao Feng had a good relationship with, Lin Fan and company, were also taken care of. From this moment onwards, Zhao Feng grasped the weaknesses of each core disciple and knew their unknown side. All of the core disciples of the Broken Moon clan were wary, respectful, and even guilty towards Zhao Feng. From then on, Zhao Feng became a forbidden existence in the inner disciples. Whenever the core disciples mentioned Zhao Feng or met him, they would feel a bit unnatural. After the training, Zhao Feng received rewards from the clan, including 1,000 low-grade primal crystal stones, contribution points, spiritual pills and items. Zhao Feng was very satisfied. In these 10 days, his mental energy had improved greatly and his strength had increased greatly. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. In the next period of time, most of the core disciples were in secluded meditation, hoping to break through their bottlenecks. However, there were still 20 days until the Alliance banquet. It was impossible to break through in such a short amount of time, especially for core disciples at the 5th sky of the Ascended Realm. At this time, Zhao Feng was facing the same problem. His strength had reached a limit in every aspect. It wouldn't be easy for him to break through in any aspect in the remaining 20 days. With my cultivation at the 5th sky of the Ascended Realm, I'm still far from being able to stand out at the Alliance banquet. Especially the 4 stars, their strength is even more monstrous. Zhao Feng calculated in his heart. How should he use the remaining time to improve? Firstly, he could go into secluded meditation. The more he went into secluded meditation, the less effective it would be. In that case, there was another way to improve it further. Chapter 218. The answer was obvious: battle experience. Over the past few months, Zhao Feng had been in seclusion for too long, and he had reached a bottleneck in every aspect. Only through battle would he be able to refine himself and squeeze out more potential. This was also why everyone's cultivation had increased so quickly in the Floating Crest trial. Of course, there was still 20 days left, and even if there was a chance for battle, Zhao Feng couldn't guarantee that he would be able to break through. But he was sure that if he continued to cultivate, he wouldn't be able to make much progress in the remaining time. Therefore, without hesitation, Zhao Feng chose to go out to train. Zhao Feng wasn't the only one who thought of this. Bei Moi and Lin Fan also left the clan and went out to train under the guise of carrying out a mission. Zhao Feng also went to the Central Division and accepted a mission. The goal of the mission was to obtain the crown of a bird called the 2-headed silver-crowned bird from the Sky Cloud Forest. The difficulty of this mission was between the 6th and 7th rank. Usually, 2 to 3 members at the 6th sky of the Ascended Realm were needed to work together to ensure their safety. The 2-headed silver-crowned bird was an overlord of flying beasts. Adding on the fact that it had 2 heads, it was stronger than those at the 6th sky of the Ascended Realm. If it was a normal disciple, the Central Division definitely wouldn't accept the mission. But considering the monstrous Zhao Feng, Vice Headley approved it. From his point of view, even if Xiao Feng couldn't complete the mission, he would be able to escape unscathed. Furthermore, Xiao Feng was a powerful archer, and he was suitable to deal with flying beasts. That's right, the materials you gave out before have all been collected. But the primal crystal stones are almost all used up, Vice Headley reminded. So fast? Xiao Feng was slightly surprised. He had given out a few 100,000 substandard primal crystal stones for this mission. After obtaining the materials, 90% of the primal crystal stones in Zhao Feng's interspatial bracelet were used up. Meow meow! The little thieving cat jumped out and protested. Zhao Feng had an agreement with the little thieving cat that he would give it 200 substandard primal crystal stones worth of cat food every month. Correspondingly, the little thieving cat wouldn't touch anything else in the storage bracelet. But now that 90% of the primal crystal stones in the bracelet had been used up, the little thieving cat started to feel uneasy. Logically speaking, Zhao Feng should not be facing a financial crisis since he had obtained a huge benefit from the trial. But the source of the financial crisis was the materials for the Dark Shadow Cloak. Many of these materials were priceless, even more valuable than ordinary divine weapons. Moreover, the gathering of materials was in the form of issuing missions. Other people would run errands for you and even bear the risk. The rewards for the missions would definitely be great. Secondly, Zhao Feng's cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. He had squandered his resources lavishly, including the support he gave to Yang Qishan and his two senior brothers. Right now, Zhao Feng still had more than 1,000 primordial crystal stones, which was equivalent to more than 100,000 subgrade primordial crystal stones. There are gains and losses. Zhao Feng put away the materials for repairing the Dark Shadow Cloak, but he didn't regret it. The Dark Shadow Cloak was an inheritance treasure that would grow with its owner. If it could be repaired, its power would definitely increase. Let's go. After accepting the mission, Zhao Feng quickly left the sect and headed towards the depths of the Sky Cloud Forest. His main purpose for going out was to train in actual combat, followed by carrying out missions. Even if he couldn't complete the mission, he would at most lose some contribution points. Which direction should I go? Zhao Feng squinted his eyes. The Sky Cloud Forest was too big and passed through 13 countries. There were many unsolved mysteries in the depths of the forest, and there were even forbidden areas that even those at the true spirit realm didn't dare to enter. Meow meow! The little thieving cat appeared and spat out an old bronze coin. The coin flipped in the air before landing in the little thieving cat's paw. The little thieving cat had a confident expression. It was like a god as it pointed in a certain direction with its paw. Fine. Zhao Feng doubtfully flew in the direction the little thieving cat pointed. On the way, the cry of an eagle appeared in the air which made all the nearby deadly beasts tremble. Zhao Feng raised his head and saw a golden feathered eagle flying through the air. Judging from its aura, it had reached the fourth sky of the ascended realm. This was a flying beast, and it was suitable for transportation. Come down! Zhao Feng's voice was filled with enticement that pierced through the mental energy dimension. The golden feathered eagle spread its wings and slowly landed on the ground, appearing very obedient. Zhao Feng nodded his head and sat on the eagle's back. At this moment, his comprehension of the mind control art was not much inferior to that of the man in bamboo hat, so it was easy for him to control a flying demonic beast. The golden feathered eagle carried the human and cat towards the depths of the Sky Cloud Forest. Half an hour later, a river appeared in front of them, and on the other side was a small canyon. It's here? Zhao Feng confirmed that this was the canyon he had been to before. Back then, he had been forced into desperate straits, forced into the blood python's cave while two high-tier vicious beasts were fighting each other. Later on, Ran Xiaoyuan and the other disciples of the clan had come and killed the Azure Head Wolf King, allowing Zhao Feng to escape. Today, Lin Yun came to the Blood Python Valley again. There was a high-tier ferocious beast that was stronger than the Azure Wolf King from back then. However, the golden feathered eagle that Zhao Feng sat on had reached the level of a Yao beast, the lower-tier deadly beast in the eyes of the world. The high-tier deadly beast was trembling. Xiao Feng couldn't help but sigh. A year ago, he couldn't even protect his life. But today, the high-tier deadly beast was no different from an ant in front of him. Ignoring the high-tier deadly beast, Xiao Feng told the golden-feathered eagle to slow down. According to the little thieving cat's divination, they should be arriving at their destination soon. After a while, the forest ahead became even more serene, and there was a strange aura in the air. Occasionally, a few beasts would jump out from the forest. Xiao Feng looked down from above and used his mental energy sound wave to kill normal beasts with one roar. Even some of the beasts with thick skin and strong defense would collapse and run away in fear after being hit by the mental energy sound wave technique. The deeper they went, the greater the resistance Xiao Feng faced. An aura that made Xiao Feng feel uneasy came from the distance. He was sure that there were beasts at the seventh sky or higher in the depths of the forest. Only existences at this level could threaten Xiao Feng. Meow meow! The little thieving cat threw out the bronze coin and pointed forward. Xiao Feng nodded his head and released the golden-feathered eagle. Under the cover of the Yin shadow cloak, he landed in the depths of the forest and hid his aura to the maximum. Under the cover of the Yin shadow cloak, the beasts in the depths of the forest weren't able to sense Xiao Feng's existence. The auras of the beasts in the depths of the forest became stronger and stronger. They were all at the fifth sky or higher. Xiao Feng suspected that the depths of the forest was the main camp of the beasts. On the way, Xiao Feng even met a few beasts at the seventh sky of the ascended realm. Even with the cover of the Yin shadow cloak, the beasts seemed to sense him when he got close and looked around cautiously. Although Xiao Feng knew that even if he met a beast at the seventh sky of the ascended realm, he could at least protect himself, this forest was extremely weird. However, this forest was extremely weird and there were countless powerful beasts here. Those under the true spirit realm would most likely die if they were to fall into it. After a few long hours, Xiao Feng finally passed through the most dangerous part of the forest. On the way, he met more than 20 beasts at the seventh sky of the ascended realm, and some of them were even comparable to those at the half-step true spirit realm. Their terrifying auras made it hard for Xiao Feng to breathe. Those at the half-step true spirit realm were equivalent to half a true spirit realm and far surpassed those at the seventh sky of the ascended realm. At this point in time, the forest became misty and the color of the mist was similar to the forest. It was as if the forest had formed a natural barrier. Xiao Feng instantly lost his sense of direction when he entered the misty forest. No wonder this place was filled with the air of death, and there wasn't a single person alive. Wherever Xiao Feng walked, bones would appear under his feet, and a cold and eerie air of death would make one shiver. Most people who enter this place won't be able to return, even if they're at the half-step true spirit realm. Xiao Feng took a deep breath. Luckily, he had his left eye which allowed him to see through the mist. Furthermore, he specialized in mental energy illusions, so the effect of the misty forest on him was minimal. Kacha! Kacha! Xiao Feng walked on the pile of bones, and the area around him was filled with bones. The air of death became heavier and heavier until it was strong enough to make normal cultivators at the seventh sky of the ascended realm lose their composure and find it hard to breathe. A sense of danger and coldness enveloped Xiao Feng's heart. It was as if there was a mysterious power trying to enter his body. The little thieving cat on his shoulder cautiously looked around. Xiao Feng took off his eye patch and his azure eye flashed with a sharp azure light as an aura that could shock gods and ghosts started to spread. Instantly, the sense of danger dissipated by more than half. Activating his left eye to the limit, Xiao Feng finally saw the situation in front of him. In the depths of the misty forest, there were more than 100 graves. Each grave wasn't small and was comparable to a small palace. The tombstones were 10 meters tall. All the mausoleums surrounded a small plaza. The ground of the field was made of a weird silver crystal stone, and even Xiao Feng's left eye couldn't see through it. At the center of the silver field was a stone altar that had arrays carved on it. Next to the stone altar was a small hut. Misty forest, land of white bones, mausoleum, silver crystal plaza, mysterious altar, Zhao Feng took a deep breath. It was unknown whether it was out of fear or excitement, but his body started to tremble. Normally, even those at the half-step ascended realm wouldn't be able to reach this depth. Even those at the true spirit realm would be affected by the mist and lose their sense of direction. However, Zhao Feng had managed to do it. With the help of his left eye, he was fine. At this moment, Zhao Feng was still more than 100 yards away from the tombs, but with every step he took, the pressure and uneasiness became stronger and stronger. Suddenly, the white bones in front of him started to shake and the ground started to shake. With the sound of bones cracking, 2 to 3 human-shaped skeletons climbed out from the ground. They held white bone weapons in their hands and green flames burned in their eyes. Each of the 3 human-shaped skeletons gave Zhao Feng a faint pressure, and they all had the strength of at least the 6th sky of the ascended realm. Furthermore, there might be more ambushes along the way. Should he go forward or retreat? Before Zhao Feng could make a decision, the 3 human-shaped skeletons leapt in front of him and started to attack. Chapter 219. Each of these 3 human-shaped skeletons possessed battle prowess comparable to the disciples participating in the 3-sect party. Under the combined attack, even Zhao Feng was forced to take a few steps back in a short period of time. Swish, 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 the 3 bone blades were surrounded by a dark light, and their momentum was like thunder. They all struck Zhao Feng, and the latter's figure was instantly destroyed. Swoosh! Lightning flashed in the void, and a few overlapping phantoms appeared several feet away. This was the illusionary fish electric arc steps, created by Zhao Feng. With the illusionary fish picture as the core, it integrated the profound meaning of the lightning inheritance, and drew on the essence of many movement techniques. During the 3-sect party, Zhao Feng hadn't used it casually. At that time, this movement technique hadn't matured yet. Now that several months had passed, the illusion fish electric arc steps had been perfected by Zhao Feng, and its power was extraordinary. The 3 human-shaped skeletons that were comparable to the 6th celestial layer couldn't even touch the hem of Zhao Feng's clothes. Thunder wind palm. Zhao Feng's blue hair and sleeves fluttered in the wind. Precise electric patterns floated in the center of his palms. In a split second, wind and thunder intersected, and electric arcs roared in the wind. Bang! Bang! Crack! In an instant, the 3 human-shaped skeletons were blasted away by a single palm strike. The human-shaped skeleton that bore the brunt of the attack was instantly pulverized and charred black. The other 2 skeletons were also crippled. Such a strong power! Zhao Feng was pleasantly surprised as he looked at his palm. The power of the 6th level of the Thunder Wind Palm was indeed terrifying. It killed 3 human-shaped skeletons at the 6th sky in one hit. In this mysterious forbidden land, Zhao Feng did not need to hide his lightning inheritance because he had nothing to fear. The other 2 human-shaped skeletons were both crippled. Zhao Feng waved his hand, and 2 arcs of lightning shot through the air. Crack! Crack! The 2 human-shaped skeletons shattered into pieces. Zhao Feng let out a sigh of relief. Although the 3 skeletons were powerful, they seemed to be restrained by his thunderstorm palm. Under normal circumstances, it was a bit exaggerated to kill 3 people at the 6th celestial layer in a second. From another perspective, would Zhao Feng be able to kill 3 young Gans with one palm strike? Obviously, under normal circumstances, it was unlikely. After killing the 3 skeletons, Zhao Feng continued forward. The mausoleum was still 100 zhang away from him. Next, Zhao Feng was on guard. He used his left eye to monitor the area below the bone layer. Puff! Puff! There was movement below the white bones again. A human-shaped skeleton crawled out. Die! Zhao Feng didn't wait for them to show their heads. His wind and thunder palms quickly burst forth. Amidst the rumbling wind and thunder, he killed one with each palm. His movement technique was extremely fast. When he used the illusion fish electric arc steps, only streaks of electric arcs could be seen flashing through the air, creating a series of afterimages. Even if 3 or 4 human-shaped skeletons appeared at the same time, before they could climb out, they were all killed by Zhao Feng. It was like a game of whack-a-mole, killing one with each hit. Of course, when it came to Zhao Feng, it seemed to be an understatement. If it was a normal cultivator at the 5th sky of the Ascended Realm, they would find it hard to deal with one. After all, Zhao Feng's speed was extremely fast, and the power of his lightning wind palms could kill one with each palm. The group of mausoleums came closer and closer. 100 zhang, 90 zhang, 80 zhang. Zhao Feng's figure came closer and closer as he used his left eye to monitor his surroundings. The skeletons that crawled out from the white bones were mostly at the 5th or 6th sky. Sometimes, there would even be 10s of them. Luckily, Zhao Feng's illusion fish electric arc steps was as fast as lightning. These skeletons had just woken up and their bodies were stiff, unable to even touch the corner of his clothes. After entering the 50 zhang area, Zhao Feng met a human-shaped skeleton whose strength was comparable to the 7th sky. This human-shaped skeleton was 2 to 3 zhang tall, and it held a thick boned spear in its hand. When it swung it, a radius of 10s of zhang was covered in black wind. It was hard for Zhao Feng to deal with it. If he was hit head-on, even if he didn't die, he would at least lose a layer of skin. Furthermore, the defense of a human-shaped skeleton at the 7th sky had increased. Xiao! Xiao! Zhao Feng pushed the illusion fish electric arc steps to the limit and quickly killed the weaker skeletons nearby. Then, he used his lightning wind palms and fought with the 7th sky skeleton. Lightning wind raging dragon. Zhao Feng struck out with his palm. Wind and lightning intertwined and turned into a lightning dragon that covered the 7th sky skeleton. The whole body of the 7th sky skeleton sizzled and was charred black. Parts of it exploded. A moment later, the 7th heavenly layer skeleton fell to the ground. Zhao Feng panted slightly and continued forward. After that, every few zhang, there would be a 7th sky skeleton crawling out. There were also many skeletons of other levels. Zhao Feng's advance was blocked. For the last 50 zhang, every 10 zhang he advanced, he would meet with a huge resistance. Zhao Feng looked at the group of mausoleums in the distance, and did not dare to fly over. Only by clearing it bit by bit could he be free of worries. Seeing the sky darken, Zhao Feng started to panic. But when he thought about it again, wasn't his purpose of coming out to gain experience? Although there might be fortune in this weird area, especially the mausoleum, there might be treasures. But Zhao Feng understood that being hasty won't get you anywhere. I'll take it slow. Zhao Feng calmed down, and he sat down to rest and ate spiritual pills. After he had enough energy, he continued to open the path. In the last 30 zhang, the skeletons that crawled out were all at the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm. Zhao Feng carefully and slowly dragged it out. Illusion fish electric arc steps flowed smoothly under his feet. He had also made new progress in his usage of the lightning inheritance. At the start, Zhao Feng could barely fight with 1 or 2 skeletons at the 7th sky. Then, it increased to 3, then 4. Facing 4 skeletons at the 7th sky at the same time was already unimaginable. Zhao Feng's lightning inheritance and movement skill had improved by quite a bit. His lightning wind palm's power and usage had also increased. Sure enough, actual combat is the best training for one's body. Zhao Feng was overjoyed in his heart. 3 days later, Zhao Feng reached the last 10 yards of the mausoleum. At this moment, an even more terrifying human-shaped skeleton crawled out. Its bones glowed with a silver light, and from its aura, it had obviously reached the half-step true spirit realm. Zhao Feng's expression changed dramatically as he attacked first. He threw out his lightning wind palm like a torrential storm, creating a terrifying destructive force. On the other hand, the glowing silver skeleton managed to stand up after taking the attack head-on. Boom! A powerful force sent Zhao Feng flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. After reaching the half-step true spirit realm, my offense and defense have all increased. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and circulated his bloodline power. Shh! The Yin shadow cloak fluttered and Zhao Feng's figure turned into a faint azure line of lightning as he ran back the way he came. The glowing silver skeleton was like a mini tornado as it rapidly pressed down on him. One had to know that Zhao Feng's current speed, with the help of the lightning arc step and Yin shadow cloak, was comparable to those at the seventh sky of the ascended realm. However, even under this situation, he wasn't able to escape from the glowing silver skeleton. Reaching the half-step true spirit realm meant that one's cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds, even if it was only half a step into the true spirit realm. Even though the glowing silver skeleton didn't specialize in speed, it was still slightly faster than those at the seventh sky. After running 100 yards, the glowing silver skeleton finally stopped and paced back and forth for a long time. Zhao Feng let out a breath. It seemed like these skeletons wouldn't leave this territory easily. After resting for a couple of hours, Zhao Feng's injuries had fully recovered and his mental energy had reached its peak. He once again returned and challenged the glowing silver skeleton. A while later, "Wah!" Zhao Feng spat out a mouthful of blood and returned. Another failure. Again. Zhao Feng tried 7 or 8 times and after 2 days, he still wasn't the skeleton's match. Of course, his strength had increased over the past 2 days and he could barely keep up with the skeleton for a while. It's almost impossible to beat it head-on. If this skeleton had the speed of a normal skeleton at the half-step true spirit realm and wasn't restricted by this area, then I'd be dead for sure. Zhao Feng gave up on attacking it head-on. He soon thought of an idea and took out the Luoho Bao with a weird smile. He took a deep breath and poured his bloodline power and true force into the Luoho Bao. So 3 Luoho arrows glowed with a dark azure light and shot towards the glowing silver skeleton's joints. After being shot, the glowing silver skeleton chased after it, but its body was covered in frost which slowed it down. Zhao Feng was at the 50-yard position, and he decisively ran out of the 100-yard range. Chio! 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 The Luoho arrows returned to their original positions and the glowing silver skeleton wouldn't leave its territory. Hee. Zhao Feng pulled on the Luoho Bao and shot a barrage of attacks from behind, causing the glowing silver skeleton's speed to decrease. In an instant, Zhao Feng could shoot more than a dozen arrows at the glowing silver skeleton. 4 hours later, the glowing silver skeleton fell to the ground. After all, Zhao Feng had merged his bloodline power into the Luoho Bao and a full-powered arrow could cause fatal damage to those at the 7th sky of the ascended realm. For the next 2 to 3 days, Zhao Feng did the same thing and cleared out all the skeletons at the 7th sky, including the glowing silver skeleton. Finally, Zhao Feng arrived in front of the tombs. In front of him, there were more than 100 tombs that seemed to be worshipping the emperor and surrounded the central square. Meow meow! The little thieving cat's black eyes spun. Zhao Feng thought that with the little thieving cat's personality, there would definitely be treasures in this area. Thinking up to here, he circulated his left eye and inspected the tombs nearby. His left eye could see through the walls and the general situation of the tombs. Take the closest tomb as an example. There was a small palace tomb with a coffin and some funerary objects inside. However, the corpses in the tombs were all powerful existences when they were alive. Even in death, they still gave off a powerful aura that could make normal people suffocate. These corpses were all at least at the true spirit realm when they were alive. Zhao Feng didn't make any rash moves. This group of tombs was filled with eeriness and coldness. The layout was like a funeral, but also like a ceremony. Anyone who came here personally would have to be wary and cautious. The entire group of tombs in the square was dead silent, as if they were here to witness the past glory of history. Zhao Feng could only confirm that there were no living beings in this area and they didn't sense the existence of danger. However, the skeletons from before weren't living beings. Who knew if there were other terrifying existences? Just as Zhao Feng was hesitating. Meow meow! The little thieving cat nimbly flipped through the air and landed on the stone tablet of the mausoleum. Then with a zing, it charged towards the plaza. In this process, the little thieving cat wasn't attacked at all. No danger? Zhao Feng was surprised and his heart jumped when he saw the little thieving cat's swift movements. With this cat's personality, if he didn't follow it closely, it might take all the treasures for itself. Chapter 220. Zhao Feng no longer hesitated. Arcs of lightning flashed beneath his feet, and he flew through the air amidst a violent gust of wind. In midair, the tombs under his feet gave off an invisible pressure. A cold aura seemed to spread from his feet to his entire body. Suddenly, a cold sense of danger came from an invisible level, as if it wanted to drill into Zhao Feng's soul. This hair-raising feeling had appeared when he had just entered the graveyard. This time, it was 10 times stronger. Pew pew! Pew pew! In the depths of Zhao Feng's left eye, the azure abyss in the pitch-black space began to quickly spin. An ancient aura that could make gods and demons avoid shot out from the azure eye. Only then did the chilling sense of danger dissipate. Zhao Feng's heart went cold. This strange sense of danger was several times stronger than the mysterious skeleton he had encountered in the ancient Cloud Forest Temple. He suddenly realized that the area he had stepped into was probably a forbidden area. In just a few breaths of time, it was like a century. Zhao Feng finally flew over the tombs. His intuition told him that the cold and frightening sense of danger came from the gathering auras of over 100 mausoleums below. Meow meow! The little thieving cat and Zhao Feng landed on the plaza at almost the same time. The entire floor of the plaza was made from mysterious silver crystals. Even Zhao Feng's left eye was unable to see through it. It could be expected that with Zhao Feng's current strength, he would not be able to damage the plaza at all. However, Zhao Feng's left eye could feel an aura of emptiness in the silver crystal plaza. It was as if the heaven-earth yuan qi was about to condense. The little thieving cat lightly jumped onto the center of the plaza, onto the stone platform that was like a sacrificial altar. On the stone platform, there were intricate and complicated array inscriptions. When Zhao Feng's left eye saw one, he felt as if he had fallen into an endless void. Shwa! He activated his left eye and copied the array inscriptions. Although he was unable to dissect the diagram of the array, these profound array inscriptions were invaluable to an array master. The little thieving cat jumped onto the stone platform and jumped up and down, seemingly excited. Zhao Feng thought to himself, "There's clearly no treasure on this stone platform, so why is the little thieving cat acting strangely?" The little thieving cat jumped around for a while before revealing a dejected expression. Zhao Feng ignored it and entered the stone house next to the stone platform. Zhao Feng cautiously scanned the area with his left eye, but he couldn't find any signs of danger. After crossing the mausoleum, that sense of danger no longer existed. Zhao Feng was sure that the Silver Crystal Plaza was a safe zone. Inside the stone house, dust and cobwebs were everywhere, and it seemed to have been through a very long time. Zhao Feng quickly scanned the area with his left eye and confirmed that there was something valuable. Soon, he locked onto 3 items on the table: a small bottle, a pot of wine, and an animal skin scroll. In fact, this stone house had existed for a very long time. Anything that hadn't decayed over the years was definitely not ordinary. At the very least, the quality of the materials would not be bad. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhao Feng and the little thieving cat attacked at almost the same time. However, the two of them had different targets. Zhao Feng first locked onto the 3 items on the table, and with a flash of lightning, he flew away. The little thieving cat's target was a dead insect. Zhao Feng was surprised. When his left eye scanned over, he also found that the corpse of the insect hadn't decayed. But it was obvious that this wasn't the target he was interested in. The little thieving cat swallowed the corpse of the insect, as if it was afraid that Zhao Feng would take it away. "Aren't you afraid of being poisoned to death by eating random things?" Zhao Feng had a mischievous look on his face. When his left eye scanned over it, he confirmed that the corpse insect was extremely poisonous. The little thieving cat burped, as if nothing had happened. Zhao Feng was surprised. One had to know that the little thieving cat didn't burp when it ate crystal stones and treasures. It seemed that the corpse insect eaten by the little thieving cat wasn't simple. Zhao Feng's gaze turned to his spoils of war. The small bottle was sparkling and translucent. It was obviously not an ordinary item, as there was a transparent liquid inside. As for the wine jug, it was ancient and heavy. Zhao Feng opened it and saw that there wasn't a drop of wine inside. But his intuition told him that this wine jug wasn't simple. The little thieving cat stared at the bottle and wine jug, slightly annoyed and depressed. But obviously it couldn't have it both ways, and it couldn't beat its master. There were 2 lines of words on the beast hide scroll. It seemed to have been written in a hurry, and the last few words were blurry. There were even only 2 strokes on the last word. Zhao Feng couldn't help but conclude. This stone room was originally guarded, but due to some special circumstances, the guard had left in a hurry. The bottle and wine jug had been left in a hurry, and they hadn't been able to take them with them. But Zhao Feng didn't recognize the words on the beast hide scroll. The words weren't in the language of the continent. Meow meow! The little thieving cat jumped onto his shoulder and scanned over the 2 lines of words. A strange light flashed through its eyes. You recognize it? Zhao Feng only half believed and half doubted it. He felt that this thieving cat wasn't a creature that had just been born, but that it already had extraordinary experience and vision. The little thieving cat revealed a smug look and waved its paw at Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng took out a pen and paper from his interspatial bracelet. The little thieving cat held the pen with its 2 paws and wrote 2 lines of words on the paper, translating the words on the beast hide scroll. Zhao Feng focused his eyes and saw that the words were as follows: The 3 Saints' Palace has grown strong in the zone of dust and is hard to shake. Recently it has even lured several 1-star sects to break the curse of 100 graves. Now, the energy has been used up. This subordinate will go first. Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed after he finished reading. Where was the zone of dust? Was it the 13 clans or the northern continent? The 1-star faction was a clue. Zhao Feng had only vaguely heard First Elder mention that according to ancient inheritances, sects were divided into 5 stars. From 1 star to 5 stars, each star was stronger than the previous. 5 stars should be the strongest sects in the world, but it was mostly just a legend. However, he had never heard of sects being divided according to ancient inheritances. Zhao Feng didn't know how they were divided, but First Elder seemed to know. Finally, there was the curse of 100 graves, which made Zhao Feng understand the layout of the 100 graves. No wonder he felt a cold sense of danger when he entered the land of white bones, especially when he got close to the graves. Because Zhao Feng had opened his left eye, the power of the curse couldn't enter his body. Furthermore, according to the description on the beast hide scroll, the curse of 100 graves had almost been broken back then, so it wasn't as strong as when it was at its peak. The little thieving cat was also able to ignore the power of the curse of 100 graves, which meant that it wasn't normal either. It might even be more experienced, so it directly charged in. Zhao Feng couldn't understand what was on the beast hide scroll, but from the word dust, he had a feeling that the world of sects he knew was only the tip of the iceberg. Zhao Feng didn't think about these questions that he couldn't understand. Next, his focus was on the bottle and the flask of wine. The flask was empty, so Zhao Feng threw it into his interspatial bracelet. However, the little thieving cat's eyes lit up and it also went into his interspatial bracelet. Zhao Feng's final focus was on the bottle. There was a faint transparent liquid within the bottle. Zhao Feng's left eye sensed a strange and pure energy that was much stronger than the spiritual pills he had eaten in the clan. Without hesitation, he drank the remaining liquid that was less than 1/20th of the bottle. The transparent liquid flowed down his throat and into his body. In that instant, a pure and boundless energy spread throughout his body. The thumb-sized ball of liquid contained such a vast amount of energy, and gave off a strong aura of life. Zhao Feng's first feeling was that his stomach was full and he had enough energy. Next, he felt the liquid's energy nourish his body. The effect was more than 10 times stronger than the marrow-cleansing pill. Luckily, the energy was very gentle, or else it would be enough to cause serious damage to Zhao Feng's body. Zhao Feng felt that his body was constantly being washed, and the injuries were being perfectly healed. At the same time, he felt as if his body had been reborn. He immediately sat down with his legs crossed and used the energy to cultivate. The liquid's energy was extremely easy to absorb. Half an hour later, a layer of black liquid was expelled from Zhao Feng's body. Half a day later, Zhao Feng digested the thumb-sized liquid and felt limitless energy. This feeling was as if he had just eaten a meal and was full of energy. At this moment, Zhao Feng's body seemed to have been reborn and his true force had reached the peak of the fifth sky. Just a little bit of liquid was enough to raise me to the peak of the fifth sky. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and suppressed the joy in his heart. Unknowingly, his evaluation of this forbidden ground had risen once again. According to his analysis, this liquid was just a food for the protector, and the cleansing effect was just a side effect. That's right, it was just a side effect. The first feeling that Zhao Feng had after drinking the liquid was that he was full, followed by the change in his body. He slowly circulated his strength with one hand and he felt that his strength was twice as strong as before. In terms of physical strength, Zhao Feng's body was stronger than normal fourth sky cultivators. The effects of this mysterious liquid were indeed shocking. Unfortunately, there was only a little bit left, and it was left over from others. Zhao Feng consolidated his strength for another half a day and found that after his body was reborn, his cultivation speed was twice as fast. According to this trend, he would naturally reach the peak of the fifth sky in a few days, and the sixth sky wouldn't be far away. Zhao Feng sighed in admiration. Although he had only drunk a little bit of the mysterious liquid, the effects were shocking and he should be satisfied. His attention then landed on the interspatial bracelet, and he was stunned. Within the interspatial bracelet, the little thieving cat was completely drunk, and its aura was much stronger than before. Where did the wine come from? Zhao Feng was stunned. He clearly remembered that there was no wine in the interspatial bracelet. Zhao Feng's gaze landed on the jug of wine. The jug of wine was ancient and extremely heavy. At this moment, it gave off the smell of wine and there were still a few drops of wine left. Where did the wine come from? Zhao Feng was sure that the jug of wine was empty. He coldly harumphed and pulled out the little thieving cat. An hour later, the little thieving cat told the truth and poured a jug of water into the jug of wine. Not long after, the water in the wine pot gradually emitted a faint smell of wine, and the fragrance was pleasant. He opened his left eye and observed from afar. However, when Zhao Feng's left eye saw the gray-robed elder, his heart went cold, and he took in a cold breath. As his left eye locked onto the old man, he saw many pale hands of nothingness, dripping with blood, wrapping around the old man's body. The gray-robed old man's internal organs were being eroded by the pale hands of nothingness. This scene made Zhao Feng's hairs stand on end. Even the old woman next to the gray-robed elder felt uneasy, and instinctively circulated her chi of true spirit, while maintaining a certain distance. When the old woman approached, those pale hands of nothingness would also attack her. Of course, even those at the true spirit realm wouldn't be able to sense the existence of the hands, but they could instinctively sense the threat. A hint of pity appeared in Zhao Feng's eyes. The gray-robed elder probably wouldn't live for more than half a year. This 100 graves forbidden ground is indeed a forbidden ground. Zhao Feng was filled with fear. He didn't think that the little thieving cat would lead him into this forbidden ground. If he had known about the situation here, Zhao Feng wouldn't have dared to enter even if he had 100 guts. Zhao Feng immediately circulated his left eye to check on his and the little thieving cat's situation. He found that there was nothing wrong with the little thieving cat and him. Zhao Feng let out a breath. The reason why Zhao Feng wasn't cursed was because of his mysterious left eye which could disperse the power of the curse. As for the little thieving cat, it had a mysterious origin and abilities and had led the way here. Little thieving cat, don't do it again. Zhao Feng's azure left eye coldly glanced at the little thieving cat. The little thieving cat shuddered and nodded its head with a wronged expression as it played with the bronze coin in its hand. Zhao Feng obviously knew that only the mysterious left eye could scare the little thieving cat. Otherwise, with the cat's cunning personality, even those at the true spirit realm wouldn't bother with it. Not long later, the gray-robed elder and the old woman flew through the air. Before they left, the old woman's sigh sounded. You didn't listen to my advice. In the past 1,000 years, only the patriarch was able to return safely after entering the 100 Graves forbidden ground. However, even the patriarch wasn't able to conquer this place. Right now, we can only go to the Iron Dragon country and find the division leader. His mental energy techniques are mysterious, and he knows a bit of mental energy curses. Maybe he has a way. The two left for a long time. Zhao Feng's figure appeared and squinted his eyes. Is this patriarch the Scarlet Moon Patriarch? He didn't stay for long and left the misty area. 2 days later, Zhao Feng found the quest target in the Sky Cloud Forest, the two-headed silver-crowned bird. The two-headed silver-crowned bird had 2 heads and it was the ruler of the sky. Its battle power was unrivaled amongst those at the 6th sky. But Zhao Feng's current strength was at least twice as strong as when he left the clan. He pulled the Luoho bow and killed a 2-headed silver-crowned bird. According to the quest's requirements, it needed 4 crowns. Zhao Feng soon found another 2-headed silver-crowned bird. This time, Zhao Feng didn't kill it. Instead, he used a mental energy technique to control the 2-headed silver-crowned bird. If those from the ancient shrine were here, they would be shocked. To be able to control a level 6 demonic beast with a level 5 cultivation base was already an incredible feat. Furthermore, the 2-headed silver-crowned bird had 2 heads, making it twice as hard to control. Zhao Feng sat on the 2-headed silver-crowned bird and returned to the Sky Moon Mountain. What kind of beast is that? It has 2 heads. Some of the disciples on the Sky Moon Mountain panicked, as if they were facing a great enemy. Even for inner disciples, the 2-headed silver-crowned bird was an existence that couldn't be fought against. When they saw Zhao Feng sit on the 2-headed silver-crowned bird, they were even more shocked and their eyes were filled with respect and admiration. Back at the clan, Zhao Feng prepared to kill the 2-headed silver-crowned bird and complete the quest. But who would have thought that several vice heads would fight to buy the 2-headed silver-crowned bird? If he had a 2-headed silver-crowned bird as a mount, how cool would it be? It would only be second to the golden ashen giant eagle. More importantly, Zhao Feng could influence the silver-crowned bird's mind, making it easier to tame it. An hour later, Zhao Feng sold the 2-headed silver-crowned bird to Vice Headley, and not only did he earn tens of thousands of substandard primal crystal stones, he also completed the quest. Vice Hall Masterly beamed with joy, his face glowing. Of course, it wasn't easy to earn primal crystal stones. In the next few days, Zhao Feng would use mental energy to help Vice Headley tame the 2-headed silver-crowned bird. On this day, the true disciple, Bei Moi, had returned from training. He had a sharper look on his face, and his cultivation had risen to the peak of the 5th heaven. But when Bei Moi saw Zhao Feng, his expression changed into disbelief. This was because Zhao Feng's cultivation was higher than his, reaching the peak of the 5th sky and not far from the 6th sky. Looks like the risk and effort this time wasn't wasted. Zhao Feng felt good. After all, this was the first time he had truly surpassed Bei Moi. At this moment, there were only a few days left until the Alliance banquet. There's only 5 to 6 days left until the Alliance banquet. But the location is far from the Sky Moon Mountain and will leave the day after tomorrow. First Elder called Zhao Feng and Yang Gone over. When the First Elder's gaze landed on Zhao Feng, his eyes flashed, and his face was filled with joy. Yang Gan's expression changed slightly. He didn't think that this junior brother of his was already half a step into the 6th sky of the Ascended Realm. Zhao Feng stood with his hands behind his back and his azure hair moved without any wind. The corner of his lips curled up and he had an indescribable confidence. After this experience, he was full of confidence for the Alliance banquet. From now on, there was no power that could stop him. He would shock the world with a single feat and soar into the sky. If this disciple was cursed, how could his cultivation increase so much? Zhao Feng was speechless. As expected, First Elder didn't find anything on Zhao Feng's body. Even if Zhao Feng had been cursed, he probably wouldn't be able to resolve it with his cultivation at the true spirit realm. Of course, the reason why Zhao Feng took out the beast skin scroll was because he had a few questions to ask First Elder. Does the division of the ancient sects really exist? What's the level of a one-star clan? Zhao Feng asked. That's just a legend. If we look at the Azure Flower Continent's history, there has never been a one-star clan or above. First Elder smiled bitterly. Hearing this, Zhao Feng couldn't help but be stunned. Didn't this mean that the Broken Moon clan wasn't even one star? According to the legendary star classification, the 10 strongest sects on the continent can barely be considered as one-star sections. Strictly speaking, only the Scarlet Moon demonic religion from a few hundred years ago can be considered a true one-star sect. As for the Broken Moon clan, they can't even be considered half a star. Furthermore, there's 100 times difference between 1.5-star clans. All of this can't be taken seriously. First Elder couldn't help but shake his head. After all, star clans were just legends. According to the rankings, the Broken Moon clan wasn't even half a star, and a one-star clan could be dozens of times stronger than a half-star clan. From 1.5 stars, 2 stars, all the way to the highest 5 stars, how terrifying would the clan's strength be? From this, a legendary 2-star sect could easily destroy the Broken Moon clan, not to mention the strongest 5-star sects in the heavens and earth. There are too many legends in this world. In this regard, you can go to the sect's ancient books and records. First Elder sighed, as if he didn't want to say more. Zhao Feng returned to the central division and stepped into the inner library pavilion. Soon, Zhao Feng found the legends about the clans. According to the requirements, a half-star sect needed at least one true Lord rank expert, dozens of normal true spirit realms, and a few other requirements. From this, it seemed that the Broken Moon clan wasn't even close to being a half-star clan. At a certain point in time, Zhao Feng flipped open another book about the origin of heaven and earth. According to the records, during the primordial chaos era, there was a wild continent in the world. The wasteland continent was boundless and boundless. Since the time of primal chaos, gods and devils were born, and they possessed the power to destroy the heavens and earth. They were practically immortal and indestructible. Over the countless years, the wild continent had extended endlessly. Its surface area was boundless, and the number of living beings on it was innumerable. Until a certain day, an unprecedented war took place in the barren continent. Even some innate gods and ancient deity kings participated in the war. That battle shook the heavens and earth, and even tore apart the primal chaos of the world. In the end, even the primordial ancestral gods were dragged into the battle. Forbidden energy erupted, creating a storm of destruction that shattered the nearly boundless wild continent. After the wild continent shattered, the world didn't end. This continent turned into billions of specks of dust, and the bloodlines of the ancient god kings merged into these specks of dust and formed a universe. Legend. The Azure Flower Continent was one of the billions of specks of dust after the wild continent shattered. Seeing this legend, Zhao Feng felt that it was too unbelievable. If the legend was true, then the wild continent's mass and power was too great. Each speck of dust was a world. He obviously didn't believe it, just like how he didn't believe in the rankings of sections. Zhao Feng closed the book and turned to leave. Zhao Feng suddenly found that when he was reading these legends, the little thieving cat's eyes twinkled on his shoulder. At the same time, he turned around. A voice echoed in Zhao Feng's mind. The ancient shatters, the ancient gods fall, turning into trillions of specks of dust. This voice was very familiar. It was the words he had heard when he first obtained the mysterious left eye. Zhao Feng's body froze and he couldn't help but take a deep breath. The ancient shatters, the ancient gods fall, turning into trillions of specks of dust. These simple words seemed to explain the legend that Zhao Feng had just seen. Didn't this mean the legend was true? At least the general trend wouldn't deviate too much. If the legend was true, then there was nothing strange about the 5-star ranking. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's mind was in a mess. But his heart soon calmed down. Ever since he merged with the mysterious left eye, his heart had become calmer and more determined. No matter how dangerous the situation was, he could maintain his calm. If that's the case, then my left eye should be the eye of an ancient god? Zhao Feng guessed in his heart, his face confident. It was the eye of a primordial god from the wasteland era. Zhao Feng was very confident in his guess. Of course, the prerequisite was that the legend was true. If that's the case, then my left eye shall be named God's spiritual eye. Zhao Feng murmured. Peh! Peh! Xiao Chen's left eye twitched rapidly, and a layer of azure blood in the depths of his body seemed to be boiling, as if an emperor had awakened. An even more profound aura merged into Zhao Feng's bloodline. His azure hair moved without any wind and the color became deeper. Chapter 223. Zhao Feng felt the changes in his body. The bloodline power in the depths of his body had become thicker. Returning to his room, he took out a mirror and looked at it. His left eye and hair had become even darker than the original green color. Zhao Feng took a light breath and a faint azure blood flowed around his body. In the blink of an eye, a layer of glazed green runes appeared on his skin, giving him an ancient and noble aura. Zhao Feng felt his blood, flesh and bones fill with an invisible power. His mental strength, energy and mental strength all rose dramatically. My strength has increased by 20% and there seems to be some sort of protection around me. Zhao Feng carefully felt the changes in his bloodline power. There were two main changes. Firstly, his bloodline power had become thicker, and its quality and quantity had increased. Secondly, when he circulated his bloodline power, the azure light covered his entire body. This was a mysterious protection. Zhao Feng could faintly feel that this was the god's spiritual eye bloodline awakening. He quickly put on the blindfold and retracted his bloodline aura. The azure patterns on the surface of his body all disappeared. On the surface, apart from the fact that his hair was darker, Zhao Feng didn't look any different than before. For the next day, Zhao Feng mainly focused on familiarizing himself with his bloodline power and consolidating his cultivation. Right now, his cultivation had reached the peak of the 5th sky and he was only below Yangon amongst the core disciples. On the morning of the 3rd day, the 10 core disciples of the Broken Moon clan rode 3 flying beasts towards the north. This time, the ones leading them were the Broken Moon clan master, First Elder, Granny Luwe, Haiyun master, Vice Headley and a few others of the older generation. Zhao Feng sat on Vice Headley's 2-headed silver-crowned bird and helped him tame it. Right now, the 2-headed silver-crowned bird was 80 to 90% tamed and it was extremely obedient. Vice Headley had a face of admiration. Mature flying beasts like this are extremely hard to tame. Most of them are tamed from a young age. Under normal circumstances, it would take at least half a year to tame an adult twin-headed silver-crowned bird if there was a correct and reasonable method. With Zhao Feng's help, he only needed half a month to completely tame it. Lin Fan and Lu Yu were also sitting on the silver-crowned bird. Both of them were relatively familiar with Zhao Feng. Senior, how long will it take to reach the destination? Lu Yu said obediently. It will take about 2 to 3 days, including the time for the birds to rest. Vice Hall Masterly answered. The location of the Alliance banquet this time was the famous Dragon Concealing Lake in the 13 nations. The lake was right in the middle of the 13 sects. On the way, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and slowly circulated the true power in his body. The acupuncture point on the top of his head sensed the chi of heaven and earth. Circulating his true power, he could even feel the power of thunder and lightning in the endless void. Ever since the Floating Crest trial, all of Zhao Feng's skills used the lightning inheritance as the core. Within the lightning inheritance, there was an inner force method. Its profoundness was linked to attack, movement, defense, and other aspects. There were currently 2 aspects to Zhao Feng's cultivation path. One was the lightning inheritance, and the other was mental energy. Ever since the floating crest trial, Xiao Feng had basically given up on cultivating his body. Originally, he could continue cultivating the 9-twist golden wall technique after his silver wall technique had reached the highest level. However, body tempering cultivation techniques were simply too difficult. Not only did they require a lot of resources, but they also required a lot of resources. The 9-twist golden wall technique was a peak mortal skill, but if Xiao Feng needed it, he could easily get it with his status and contribution in the clan. One had to know that Xiao Feng even had a spiritual skill in his mind. Normal spiritual skills had higher requirements, and they couldn't compare to the lightning inheritance. As an inheritance, it was more complete, and it was easier to comprehend and cultivate from the bottom to the top. In terms of value, low-tier spiritual skills definitely couldn't compare to the lightning inheritance. This was just like how normal spiritual weapons weren't as valuable as inheritance weapons of the same grade. When Xiao Feng was at the Consolidated Realm, he had used a body-strengthening skill to form a good foundation. This was also one of the reasons why his cultivation speed was so fast. But now that he had passed the introductory stage, he didn't need to focus on body strengthening anymore. No matter how strong my body is, I can shatter my opponent's mind with just my mental energy. No matter how strong their defense is, my lightning wind palm can shatter them with just one attack. Xiao Feng understood. There was no strongest Dao, only the most suitable Dao. On the other hand, Xiao Feng had chosen a weird mental energy technique and the lightning inheritance that pursued destruction and offense. While he was cultivating and comprehending, Xiao Feng suddenly felt a wisp of hostility and killing intent. That trace of killing intent was hidden very well, but it didn't escape Xiao Feng's senses. On the left side of the golden ashen eagle, Haiyun Master's eyes flashed coldly as he looked at Xiao Feng. A few days ago, Xiao Feng had overtaken Bei Moi after coming back from the trial, making Haiyun Master feel a sense of danger and pressure. Haiyun Master had asked Bei Moi and understood Xiao Feng's path of growth, which made him feel even more uneasy. Xiao Feng's path of growth was a process of creating miracles, turning the impossible into the possible. In just half a year, how many miracles had Xiao Feng created? First place in the outer disciple competition. Entering the inner disciples and practicing the lightning wind palm. Establishing his dominance in the Scarlet Moon demonic cave and becoming first elder's disciple. Breaking the 10,000-year record in the floating crest trial. Shocking the world at the 3-clan party. And now, many disciples were discussing whether Xiao Feng's true strength was enough to challenge the head disciple. This is the last alliance banquet. Haiyun Master tried to calm the uneasiness in his heart. If Xiao Feng could create another miracle in the alliance banquet, he would kill Xiao Feng no matter what price he had to pay. 3 days later, a blue lake came into view. We're here. Excited and expectant voices came from the 3 flying beasts of the Broken Moon clan. Xiao Feng opened his eyes and saw that the lake was 1,000 miles wide. In the middle of the lake was a small island dozens of miles wide, which was the size of Sun Feather City. At this moment in time, there were flying beasts flying towards the small island in the middle of the lake. This is the location of the Alliance Banquet, the Dragon Concealing Lake. Vice Headley smiled and said. There was a legend about the Dragon Concealing Lake. It was said that several thousand years ago, there was a cultivator who cultivated here for almost 100 years before turning into a dragon and becoming a shining star in the history of the Azure Flower continent. That ascetic cultivator was the Hidden Dragon Sage. Apparently, his cultivation had reached the Origin Core realm, and he was famous in the past 10,000 years. On the continent, anyone who reached the Primal Core realm would be recorded in history as a legend. The legend about the Hidden Dragon is indeed true, Vice Headley said confidently to satisfy Lu Yu's curiosity. Really? How can you be so sure? Lu Yu asked curiously. Vice Headley chuckled. The top 3 prizes of the Alliance Conference of the 13 clans are related to the Hidden Dragon. What kind of reward is it? Xiao Feng and Lin Fan couldn't help but be curious. The hidden dragon had cultivated for almost 100 years in the dragon-concealing lake and left behind a ruin. Apparently, the comprehension and intent of an origin core realm sovereign was left behind. This is the most precious inheritance of the 13 countries. Vice Headley sighed. The dragon-concealing lakes, venerable realm ruins, was under the joint control of the top 3 sects, the Cloud Sword sect, the Ancient Shrine, and the True Profound sect. Usually, only the top geniuses of the 3 clans would be able to enter and comprehend it. The other 10 clans of the 13 clans obviously weren't willing to give up. Therefore, the 13 clans would hold an alliance banquet every 10 years. One reason was for the 13 clans to spar and discuss, and the other was for the distribution of benefits. Soon, the group from the Broken Moon clan entered the small island. This small island was basically a place for the alliance banquet. At the center of the small island was a large array stage that was several miles wide. This was the first time they had seen such a large array stage, and it was completely made of black sand. The material of the black sandstone was harder than metal. Only divine weapons could barely damage it. With so much sand and gravel piled up, it had an extremely strong cushioning and absorption effect. There were a total of 15 spectating stands around the black sand stage. Each of the 13 clans had a spectating stand. As for the other 2, they were prepared for the clans of the Iron Dragon Country and Sky Rich Country. A long time ago, the sects of the 2 powerful countries would occasionally send their disciples over to observe and learn from the battles. But later on, one after another, they were cut off. Vice Headley explained. Soon, the group from the Broken Moon clan was led to a spectating stand. The battle viewing platform was not only used for spectators, but it was also built with houses to provide for the daily necessities of the various sections. Several hours later, the Lin Moon clan and Silver Moon clan arrived and stood on the left of the Broken Moon clan. The 3 Moon clans were one clan a long time ago. When facing external enemies, most of them were united against them. The combined strength of the 3 clans couldn't be underestimated. Look, that's one of the 4 stars, Ao Yuetian. Some people in the spectating stand looked over. Ao Yuetian was indeed worthy of being called the Alliance's top prodigy. Ao Yuetian's cultivation had indeed reached the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm, which made the other geniuses lose their shine. In the next day, the 13 groups of the 13 clans all arrived. What was unexpected was, during this alliance banquet, the Iron Dragon Country's sects also sent a group of people to watch. The Iron Dragon Country was a strong country in the northern continent, and its forces were much stronger than the 13 clans. The alliance banquet this time is more lively than before. First Elder smiled faintly. On the black sand platform, a transparent layer of faint golden light shone, dividing the huge formation platform into 4 parts. At the same time, there were 4 experts at the True Spirit Realm guarding the 4 areas. The 4 areas of the formation platform are divided into 4 sections, and each section will determine the top 3 contestants. Finally, the 4 areas will merge together, and that's when the true battle begins. Excited and expectant discussions came from the spectating stand. The rules of the Alliance banquet were the same. Soon, an expert at the True Spirit Realm from the Cloud Sword clan announced the rules. Apart from 10,000 low-grade primal crystal stones and the right to comprehend the origin core ruins, the first place will also receive a shedding spiritual pill. A loud and clear voice rang out in the field. Shedding spiritual pill? Zhao Feng searched for the information in his mind. At the same time, the crowd broke out. Vice Headley was extremely excited and his face paled in shock. This is the first time the Alliance banquet has a shedding spiritual pill as a reward. Chapter 224. Hearing the 3 words shedding spiritual pill, the disciples of the 13 clans became excited and some of the elders couldn't help but exclaim. Being a quasi-pill master, Zhao Feng soon found the relevant information in his mind. The shedding spiritual pill was a grade 3 spiritual pill, and its most obvious effect was that it could increase the chances of breaking through to the true spirit realm by 20%. This effect was enough to make those at the seventh sky of the Ascended Realm and half-step True Spirit Realm go crazy. There was a saying in the clan world: "Once you reach the True Spirit Realm, you are no longer mortal." Simply put, after breaking through to the True Spirit Realm, one would no longer be immortal. One's strength and lifespan would increase greatly. Normally, those at the seventh sky of the Ascended Realm only had a 10 to 20% chance of reaching the True Spirit Realm. The 20% chance of the shedding spiritual pill doubled or even tripled the original success rate. Furthermore, the shedding spiritual pill has another effect. Those at the seventh sky of the Ascended Realm have a 100% chance of reaching the next sky. Even those at the seventh sky of the Ascended Realm can reach the half-step True Spirit Realm with this pill. Zhao Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath as his heart beat faster. The effect of the shedding spiritual pill was heaven-defying for those under the True Spirit Realm. A 100% chance of reaching the next sky. How tempting was this? One had to know that at the late stages of the seventh sky of the Ascended Realm, each sky was extremely hard to break through. Especially after the fourth sky, each sky could be stuck for a few years or even up to 10 years. It's indeed worthy of being a grade 3 spiritual pill. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled and he made a decision. Even if he had to expose his strength, he had to get first place. The effect of the shedding spiritual pill was irresistible to the participants. Bei Mua's hands were clenched tightly as a bright light flashed in his eyes. Ao Wetian of the Lin Moon clan took a deep breath and his bloodline power started to stir. A layer of moonlight appeared on his body and his powerful aura made the nearby disciples feel suffocated. After the reward was announced, the top geniuses of the 13 sects wore determined expressions. Some of them even wore ferocious looks on their faces. Soon, the rewards were announced one by one. The top 3 had the right to comprehend the Origin Dragon Emperor's ruins. The top 10 also had corresponding rewards, including Origin Crystal Stones, Spirit Pills, cultivation techniques, and so on. However, there was no doubt that the reward for first place was the most alluring. This was especially so for the 4 stars. Their cultivations had all reached the 7th sky of the Ascended Realm, and if they could obtain the shedding spiritual pill, they would be able to reach the True Spirit Realm within a year or 2. On the same day, after the announcement of the rewards and rules, the representative disciples of each sect registered and received their number tags. The next day, the Alliance Conference of the 13 clans had officially begun. At this moment, the disciples of the 13 sects felt their blood boiling with excitement. The Alliance meeting was held once every 10 years. It was different from the 3-sect party. This was a huge stage that belonged to the younger generation, while the older generation was just a foil. Throughout history, how many peerless geniuses had shocked the world with a single brilliant feat on this stage, transforming from snakes to dragons? Moreover, the Alliance banquet wasn't just a simple spar. Zhao Feng heard from Vice Hall Master Li that the ranking of the representative disciples would affect the distribution of benefits in the sect. This meant that if Zhao Feng could reach the top 3 or even first place, it would bring a lot of benefits to the Broken Moon clan. This was also why the 13 clans placed so much importance on the Alliance banquet. The black sand formation platform with a circumference of several miles flashed with a pale golden light. The transparent light intertwined with the morning light. When the enormous black sand array stage was split into 4 areas by the faint golden light. The first round, the different areas. The 4 regions represented the 4 subarenas. According to the rules, each area would have one of the 4 stars. After a round of competition, the top 3 would be chosen from each area. After the end of the competition, the 4 areas merged together, and the battle that would decide the most glorious moment in history began. The final battle was especially exciting and filled everyone with anticipation. Those that were able to reach the last round would be famous in the 13 clans. Of course, the prerequisite was that they could pass the cruel elimination. Soon, almost 200 elite disciples from the 13 clans were split into 4 areas. Area 1, Sang Yue was present. Area 2, Lin Tong was present. Area 3, Su Zixuan was present. Area 4, Aoyuetian was present. Every branch arena had a rising star overseeing it. This was to prevent the strongest stars from meeting each other too early. At the same time, it ensured that every area would have an exciting performance. Zhao Feng was sent to Area 3. Lin Fan from the Broken Moon clan was also sent to Area 3. The two looked at each other and smiled as they walked to Area 3. There were 40 to 50 people of the younger generation gathered near Area 3. Each of them had a sharp aura and a small amount of them gave off an invisible pressure. Any one of these people was at least on the same level as a core disciple of the Broken Moon clan, and some of them were even stronger than them. Area 3 was obviously led by the star Su Zixuan. When everyone looked at him, their expressions would be solemn and filled with wariness. Su Zixuan wore a green robe and he stood with his hands behind his back. He had a faint smile on his face, and he looked very approachable. The only thing that stood out was that he had 3 swords on his back and each sword was an extraordinary weapon. In terms of ranking, Su Zixuan was above Aoyuetian, but he didn't have the arrogance that the latter had. Apart from Su Zixuan, Area 3 also had geniuses of the first tier. The geniuses of the first tier were only weaker than the stars and their cultivation was at least at the 6th sky of the ascended realm. For example, Area 3 had 3 to 4 geniuses of the first tier, and their auras were even stronger than the head disciple of the Broken Moon clan, Yangon. The eyes of these geniuses of the first tier flashed, and most of the time, they were locked onto Su Zixuan. It was obvious that their target was the star and they didn't put anyone else in their eyes. Area battles start! With a command, the judges at the True Spirit Realm announced the start of the battles. In the next instant, the crowd broke out into chaos. Each of the 4 side arenas had a genius that represented the strongest of the 13 clans, the 4 rising stars. Area 1. A girl dressed in plain clothes held a 3-foot-long sword in her hand. Her hair was like a waterfall and her eyes were filled with spirituality. She stood silently on the spot like a goddess from a painting. She was Tsangyue, the head of the 4 stars, and she had stepped on all the geniuses of the 13 clans. Area 2. A black-robed youth whose body was as black as ink appeared. He was mysterious and deep, as if he could suck one's heart into an abyss. Area 3. A handsome youth dressed in azure clothes had 3 swords on his back and he gave off a celestial aura, as if he didn't belong to the mortal world. Area 4. The cold and aloof man was like a perfect marble sculpture, mysterious and noble. He had a kind of arrogance that looked down on all geniuses. At this moment, in the first round, the 4 stars appeared at the same time. Their opponents were extremely nervous. They didn't know if it was an honor or a tragedy to fight with the 4 stars of this generation. Jiang! A dazzling, silver, an ice-cold sword gleam cut through the dark clouds like a bolt of lightning. That flash of brilliance suppressed the entire area. The entire black sand platform paled in comparison to that one sword strike. Everyone's hearts trembled. Their eyes and souls were being guided by that sword, and then they were being pierced by that sword. At this moment, Tsang Yue's attack had already been completed. Her opponent, who was at the peak of the 5th heaven, had a faint trace of blood on his throat. Everyone in the audience was stunned by the breathtaking beauty of that sword. Zhao Feng's body shook as if his mind had been sliced apart by that sword. That sword seemed to be able to cut into one's consciousness, and it gave off a feeling of loneliness. That's right. Zhao Feng felt loneliness from that sword. It was a feeling of standing on top of a mountain and looking down on the rest. Almost at the same instant, Lin Tong, Su Zixuan and Aoyuetian had finished their first battle. Plop! Lin Tong's opponent fell to the ground silently with blood flowing out of his orifices. The second-ranked star of the alliance, the head disciple of the ancient shrine, Lin Tong's opponent would always be defeated silently without needing to do anything. Suddenly, a dazzling golden sword shadow flew out from the 3 swords on Su Zixuan's back. In an instant, it streaked across the sky and slashed his opponent to the ground. Sword control through the air, overwhelming power. That's the Mystic True Clan's sword control technique. He's trained in such a profound skill. The hearts of those in Area 3 went cold, and a few of them had pale faces. Su Zixuan flicked his finger, and a divine treasure sword slashed through space. The legendary immortal techniques were displayed in his hands. Zhao Feng and Lin Fan couldn't contain their shock. It was the first time they had seen such a skill. So flashy, so beautiful, unimaginable methods, undefeatable super strength, this was Su Zixuan. The Mystic True Clan is said to pursue the path of immortality. They have all kinds of mysterious skills. Zhao Feng's eyes widened. Before the Alliance banquet, he had obviously understood the style of the clans. Area 4. Ao Yuetian flicked his finger and a cold beam of light sent his opponent flying, spitting out blood. So simple and clean. In just a breath's time. The 4 stars had all insta-killed their opponents without exception. The fastest were Tsang Yuyue and Lin Tong. They had completed their attacks before anyone could react. Their opponents didn't even see how they had lost. The 4 stars are indeed powerful, each more monstrous than the last. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and felt a huge pressure. The strength that the 4 stars had displayed in the first round was just the tip of the iceberg. Their true strength and trump cards were even more unimaginable. The 4 stars' appearance ignited the excitement of the banquet. After that, the 4 areas started to fight. Zhao Feng's attention turned to Area 3. Apart from Su Zixuan, there were a few other experts of the first tier who were stronger than Yang Gan, and had the chance to become one of the 4 stars. Zhao Feng had thought that he would have to wait for half a day before it was his turn. But it was only the 3rd round and it was his turn. Zhao Feng's opponent was an elegant girl in a blue dress. Her eyebrows were like that of a painting, and she had a classical beauty to her, but she also had a hint of loneliness that pushed people 1,000 miles away. As soon as the girl stepped onto the stage, her aura and beauty caused the crowd in Area 3 to be stunned. Even Su Zixuan was startled by her beauty. Zhao Feng could faintly feel that this girl wasn't simple. He could tell from the pitiful gazes of the crowd.